I'm out in the water, come jump right in, 'cause we going farther than we ever been. I'm out in the water, come jump right in, we going farther than we ever been.
Welcome.
Yes, sir.
Episode 28, Ocean Waves Podcast. Thank you for tuning in today.
Yep. I'm going to turn myself up a little bit. Let's see. 2. Is that 2? Or that might be you, actually.
I turn myself up?
I think we need to turn you up. I got you. You're 2.
I am too.
All right, keep talking.
Check 111. Hello,
yeah.
hello.
There you
Dwin
go.
the Kin.
Now you're on. You're live.
Indy Dwin the Kin. What's good?
Wasn't me. I'll turn me up just a bit. That way we have even levels. Yeah. All right, cool. Episode 28. Should we redo the sign? You want to reping it? Like who we did?
Sure, let's do it.
I'm still getting real ready. All right.
What's up, guys? Episode 28. That's good.
The redo never works.
I think you just keep
Well,
them
yeah, this is good. I don't know if I think we should. I don't know. We'll decide when the time.
Try
comes.
one more time, maybe.
No. Okay, now we're a little loud.
Technical
That's geek.
difficulties.
That's geek.
Technical difficulties.
All right, episode 28. Welcome, Ocean Waves Podcast. I'm Indigo Reyen, the Navigator.
Indy Dwin the Kin. What
Crack
it do?
this. We won't tell you what it is.
But you can guess it.
Nice and crisp.
Leave a guess of what you think we're sipping on.
Yeah, leave a comment. Ooh, that reminds me. Damn, I don't have my phone. It's charging. Sorry for the little loud in the mic, but I do remember the comment. It was on, what was it, 20, was it 25 that it was us three, me, you, and Calvin?
25?
Or was
it was 25.
Okay, so 24 was when we had that, like, when we were all conversing like this. So, Sparky has commented before. Thanks for commenting. Appreciate you. I'm going to bring it up on the one with Jason, and I'll double down on it. But he said something on the lines of that he could tell that he was like, oh, it got intense. And then he was like, but it shows like the passion of like what you're working on and like the belief of like what you're doing and whatever. So it's something along those lines. So basically it was like acknowledging that like we got to that point, but like I think it shows like that you're not always going to agree on everything, and that's what makes us great is because we're all individuals.
Even like amongst friends.
Yeah, and you're not, because if you always all agree, then someone might have a bad idea, and now you all get caught in that bad idea. Whether it's like cow tipping in like Barnyard, that movie, or like when Tomato brings Lightning McQueen to tip the tractors, but then they almost like get shredded up by the big whatever that machine was.
Tiller.
Yeah. So you don't want to always have that where everyone's like has the same thought or whatever. But sometimes it's good when everyone has that, we're all knowing what we're doing. That's good. But, blindly all being like, we believe in this without having someone have some sort of individual difference, But by having that, we're able to, it might get to that point at some points, you know what I mean? But I think it was really, it did like sit in with me, like what the comment, shout out to Sparky saying that you could show like the passion in the whatever, because it really is like passionate about it. Like because at the end of the day, we don't even have to do this.
Right. You
could have went to work today, you could have went home, hopped on the Switch or whatever you're gonna do, cook some dinner, chill with them over there, whatever you felt like doing for the night, but you decided to come here, to get on a microphone, to do a podcast, right, Ocean Waves, to continue Ocean Waves on to the next one and the next one. And in that, we don't have to do it. like we have to do it because we want to do it, and part of the give and take of if we want everything that we want to accomplish, we want to get these things, and we want to do these things, we have to put in the work. You have to do them too. It's 100%. Not just like you don't get anything about just having a bunch of money and whatever. Nothing comes from that. Like, it doesn't fulfill you. But having something that you worked hard on, you're passionate about, this is what you do, then you will get not angry, but you will like be passionate about it. And sometimes when you get to that, the only way to let out what you have to say is in that passionate ring of conversational battle where people are getting their ideas out, or just trying to say like, I guess it can kind of get like defensive, where if someone takes something personally, then like they'll try to defend whatever that might be. But I think for me personally, like I think I just want to get I guess not my thought process, but like try to just get my picture, whatever I'm reflecting, try to get it as clear as possible. That way, if they get it or they don't get it, or they don't agree with it or they agree with it, it wasn't because I didn't deliver my reflection how I wanted to. Like if I'm gonna say something or get my point out, I want to, like, even this thought, I want to try to get it as clear as possible so that the people who are listening can receive it.
For sure, you want to be precise. Whenever you deliver a message, I feel like you want to be precise.
Yeah.
Because if you're not precise, if you're like using a whole bunch of words, people will lose interest.
Yeah.
And like I do public speaking, you know what I'm saying, for my job.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to big groups of people, and doesn't matter what the age. If you have somebody probably like at like 60% retention, you know that you have their, like, they're focused on you. They might not all be 100% focused on you, but like who 100% focuses on anything?
Yeah.
Like you're still like, even though like we're having this podcast, subconsciously we're still thinking like, okay, after this I know I gotta go eat. I know I'm gonna have to go brush my teeth at that certain time.
This isn't the only thing that's
it's not the only thing on my mind.
Yeah, it's not your whole day like, oh, did a podcast today, go home, do absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like you're just working it into your day.
So like if you have like 60% of someone's attention, then like they're gonna understand at least mostly what you're trying to get across, and so be precise, not you lose someone by jumbling a whole bunch of words and giving them every single detail, rather give them like the bullet points, the highlights, right?
Yeah.
Give them some ESPN highlights.
Yeah, you want them to remember it, or like just take it in, because even they might not understand it. You know what I mean? Like, you might hear a line in a song and you sing that line like how many times until you finally understand it. Like, it could be 5 minutes, could be 5 years or whatever, But having that, I kind of lost my train of thought. What did you just say?
Like, when you want to be precise, you want to give like bullet points as opposed to like give.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even if they didn't, you gave them the bullet points, they might have not understood the bullet point, but they were able to read it and hear it and recite it. And then later on, it could come back into their thought. They could be looking at the sky and a plane goes by or something, and then that thought trickles in. We did the one where it was like, we were trying to remember 8, 6, 7, not that one. It was 525 million, whatever. Yeah, we were trying to remember that jingle. But at some
Seasons
point,
of Love.
Yeah, at some point, someone put that in a song. So how many minutes are in a year? You can know. Like, if you want to know the information, and how do we find the information? Based off the song.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you were able to backtrack. We still don't remember the words fully or whatever.
Right.
But in that thought process of being able to, like, remember a line or remember something and then understand it later, you have to retain it at that moment. Like, you can't just... It's like if the PowerPoint presentation was blurry, you wouldn't have been able to read the things. You didn't hear the presentation, but if the bullet points were crisp, you could read it and take it with you, and then come have it for however long.
Well, I'll bring the song back up, right? I still don't know the lyrics to that song.
It's
but
like
if I desire
525,006. No, yeah, I don't even remember.
But we still don't know the lyrics to the song. But if I desired, right?
Doesn't feel right.
If I desired to learn the lyrics to the song, right? If that was something that was like really compelling me to do so, yeah. I could go look it up. I could go do further research on it. And if I didn't, even if now I know the song, right? I know like it's 5,000, 2,500, 600 minutes.
It's actually
or something
a geek
like
bit because you could do, how people do it, they like pull up and do videos.
Yeah.
You do a video, it was like, how many minutes are in a year? and then they don't know. Someone pops out of like the bush and just starts singing like 500. And you got like a whole choir or something like that.
Right, that'd be so funny.
That would get views for sure.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? At some level.
But like, all right, so but hypothetically, right? Let's say like you don't believe the song. Well, you can go fact check the song.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, go do further research. It's like, all right, you don't believe that the song is,
exactly.
maybe you think it's 600,000, right?
Yeah.
Instead of 500,000. So you go fact check it. You go do the
Yeah.
multiplication to find out how many minutes are in a year.
But then once you find it and the answer is the same, now that it just rings even harder.
Exactly.
Now you know the jingle, you know the numbers, and you know the knowledge behind it or whatever. What was the reasoning? And there's so many songs. You could put like a billion Bob Marley songs in there.
For sure.
You know, and so many people that's part of music, like layering those messages in where, you know, where people hear one thing and then but you mean another thing, and then you have to be in a certain mind state or know of a certain slang or lingo to even pick up, you know, which is a beautiful.
Well, I feel like it's just like knowing the culture, right?
Yeah.
So like, you said Bob Marley, right? Bob Marley has a lot of songs about like, fighting the power. You know what I'm saying? Going like out for love and like bring people in and rejoicing and all that, right? And I would actually have to go research Bob Marley a little more myself. And I love some of his songs. You know what I'm saying? I have not listened to as many as I probably should have.
Yeah.
You know.
But at the end of the day, I think it's like time, because it's almost like if you're on the beach and there's a fire going and people got a spliff and people are drinking on a beer or whatever, why would you not play that? You know what I mean? It just sits right.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you go into the world, like you're playing like One Love in the World, and next minute you just hear all of a sudden this dude with huge bass comes ripping by, and it's like, I just fucked your bitch in some Gucci flip flops, and then that shit just like reigns over that shit.
Right.
Because the next kid in the next car, if he's in between them, that shit with the nice face and the whatever, in this day and age, they're gonna go to that versus like the whatever. So it's like the setting of playing it, like where can you get even into the setting of like where you play it and you hear it. Because it's one thing to play it, like you could have background music or whatever, you know, and people play lo-fi beats or whatever. But there's a reason why those beats don't become like songs or become whatever, because they're meant to just that background, almost that like, background tune,
background noise.
Almost like in the movies where it sets you put on a lo-fi beat, it sets that you want to chill, you want to relax, you want to think. You kind of want to be
sets the tone of the scene.
You kind of want to be introspective, or you want to be working on something. You don't want to be distracted or whatever. So you kind of just and it's usually the same loop. But even if it's 4 hours, it's still the same. Like I realized like an hour in, I'm like, oh, it's the same song, you know. So, but
I like the bicycle goat boy that just like goes around. It's like a 4-hour loop.
Yeah.
I'll put that one on something.
I wish that it's hard to find someone that like someone took the time to put like a bunch of beats in them. Cause like there is something like that, but a lot of the like it'll be like maybe like 10 minutes. It's like a 10-minute loop, and then it's back.
Yeah.
But by the time the 10 minutes go, you don't even notice it because it sounds good and you're just fucking vibing. And 10 minutes have gone by, and now you're in a whole new thought. So, you know.
I like those ones a lot too.
You know, so then Bob Marley, in a sense, is like that's someone that you like want to listen to or you want to like sing to. Like everyone knows the lyrics, or it sets that vibe. But in this day and age of where we are in society, like how many times are people like sitting and like rejoicing like that? You know what I mean? I'm sure there's definitely people are. Don't get it wrong.
I feel like a lot of times, like and like America has a lot of at least history, like when it comes to rejoicing at the end, like war conflicts. You know, that's when people are very like our country as a whole is very connected. During war in general, our country as a whole is very like I feel like, you know, we're a country built around war.
The war is not just the physical or the military battle. It's the entire what comes with it.
It's at home also, you know, like you have all these people who aren't here, are supposed to be here.
Yeah,
all
true.
the jobs are missing, right? So like I feel like
I think more importantly like just the kids and stuff like the taking someone away from their family or whatever, you know what I mean? For something that might not even be what you're fighting, like what are you really fighting, you know what I mean? But you can't like you can't go to like that's wrong of you to go and like try to like because they once you make the choice, you can't really undo the choice, or you kind of it's like not their fault. You know what I mean? Why they? But you can't just go tell them that. You know what I mean? Because it's not like there's nothing they can do. You know?
Oh yeah, they don't really have a choice in it, right?
But there's
But
nothing
you
you
get
can do at the
drafted
moment.
or
Like
drafted.
if you went to war and even if you realized that it was like we're not really like there's one story about just to make the thought better to reception. There's one story about the dude who he was like a drone, he was like a fighter pilot or whatever, and he like shot the building or whatever, but right before he shot, he saw like a kid go in, but beforehand they were just told it's like targets or whatever, and then when they said it was like, oh, it's just a dog, it's just a dog, and then he just knew that he just killed a kid, you know, and it was like he has nothing to do with this, you know what I mean? The kid's fucking 10, 8, like there's only so many kids that are 8, 9, 10 that are super influential,
Right.
you know what I mean, to the world at that point. So it's like, but having that, but he did it, and then like I think he like got out or whatever, but then he has to live with that for the rest of his life that he did this thing, and then and it's just like that thing. What's that study where they like hit the button, like the dude's like tell him to hit the button and it like brings pain to the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It was like the study was about like I think they were trying to like justify like the Nazi actions of like all the followers of Hitler, and so they had this group of like basically they say you took 100 people, right, and you gave like 50 of them were like group A, 50 of them were group B, and you put them all in a room. And one person was told that like group A has a button, right? Group B is like attached to the chair, and they would basically ask you to do a certain task, right?
Isn't it like I'm pretty sure like possibly like half the group knew that it inflicted pain.
Oh
The
yeah,
other
and
half
so
didn't.
yeah. But so I'm talking about Group B right now
Okay,
for a
yeah.
second. So they split Group A in half as well.
Yeah.
So
So
in
you
Group
have
B, I think they had
B
to
in
just
the
do a
room.
task, right? And like eventually, like the task was like they had to do like 50 push-ups. I can't remember what the task exactly was, but then like if they said they couldn't do it anymore, then they would have to administer a shock to that person.
Mm.
And eventually, right? Well, we'll go back to Group A, right? Group A, they split Group A, and the 50 people, or 25 people were told that it does inflict pain. 25 is told it doesn't inflict pain. And as it kept going, they had like a whole like meters, like would say 1 through 10, right, of like how much it would hurt. They would start at like a 3, and then if they still didn't do the task, they'd go to 4 all the way up.
And they have the one person like pressuring him really.
Yeah, it's like
and then
press
the other
the button
one's
again.
like, and it was like the percentage. To the long story short, because I don't remember the study, we'll have to look it up and bring it back up.
Yeah.
Just to give it its justice, but long story short, the percentage of people that were like coerced into it and didn't know, there's a lot higher people of them hitting the button because they were just pressured and they felt whatever. And then the other people who knew, there was more people, like a significant more people who didn't, you know.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, if you didn't know it hurt the person, then you were pretty much pressing it the whole
So
time.
in that,
but if you knew it hurt the person and the person was telling you to do it, then you were still pressing it.
Yeah.
Because it's the power of
but the percentages
doing it wrong.
You can see the percentages in the fact of blindly getting pressured versus like force. There is a human level to it where someone is not gonna save themselves over someone else, like more or less whatever.
I think once the pain, like nobody who was conscious of the pain was that they inflicting went above like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone actually pressed the 10.
True. You know, but in that metaphor of into the thing, if you're like a soldier and it's the mission and you know these are the targets, they're the terrorists, they're bad or whatever, you go do it. It doesn't feel as like inhumane because you're defending your country or whatever.
Right.
But then you kill a kid and they're trying to tell you it's just a dog and whatever, and you might start thinking like, oh, this might not be exactly what it set out to be, you know.
Or some type of disguise.
Yeah. So that's got to be tough to deal with. So it's like in general. So that's why long story short, I have respect for the military. I have respect for the people who do it. I have the individuals who took it upon their lives to go do something that was bigger than themselves. Now, I think the hardest part is the fact that if it is not really what they say, and it is more or less like we don't have to be losing these people, that is more tragic than the act of someone going to war and dying. Because it's like, okay, yeah, that's very tragic. Someone lost their family, someone lost their life. But they went there and they decided to sign. They made the decision, yes. But on the flip side is, if we all find out it was for nothing, then it's like, then what? You know what I mean? And then if you get to that point, I think that's why a lot of soldiers might get to that point and then commit suicide. Yes, because they have the toll of what they might have done and this and that, but then knowing that you didn't have to do that, you know, you didn't really have to do that. And then that's probably got to be a big weight to whatever.
And like, I would still have to look more into it, but I feel like
I'm gonna bring that.
What a good example of what you're talking about. And like they still had to do this because they were drafted, but the Vietnam War is a great example of what you're talking about because we had like a whole bunch of like 18 through 25-year-old men who were drafted to 2-year commitments basically, and they had to go overseas into Vietnam, go fight a war that wasn't really even a war that we needed to be in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was a war between France and Vietnam to begin with. And then we basically took over the war from France. Super abridged. You know, there's a whole bunch of more logistics than just what I'm saying. But when the Vietnam War veterans came home, because it was a very not a popular war in America because...
That's definitely a good example.
Yeah, like they're taking away these people.
That's one that people could probably...
But the Vietnam veterans came home and the American people were like disgusting to them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like they got hit on both fronts.
Yeah, I remember.
And like I feel awful for them because
that's crazy.
They
bear that.
Did something that was supposed to help our country, right? And then they didn't even want to go. They went, they fought, they saw things that like were horrible things and did things that were horrible things for their country, so the people they loved would be safe, and they come home and they spit on them.
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
And then history repeats itself in some ways, where you get like the Bush, Afghanistan, all that, Iraq, like that whole push. Then you get to Obama with the drone bombings, and then whatever. So Snowden comes out and tells the whole United States that the U.S. is spying on everyone, including you, you know, and all that stuff. So it's like, to now we're in this like Ukraine thing. I haven't heard too much on it now. But to see like to see money that you have to pay as a tax citizen, and then you don't get to decide where it goes, and it just goes to another country. And the United States is so very much like, oh, let's put our paws in everyone else's shit. But then you go look at what's going on your own. You're not at the point where you can basically it's always a saying, you can't help anyone else if you haven't helped yourself. You're not good. If you're not healthy, you can't help your neighbor or whatever. But if if you're strong, you're good, you can help anyone because you're good. And that's what happened to me in college, where I spent a lot of time going into other people's minds, going into their worlds, trying to help them, to the point where I had spread myself so thin that I was like, I had lost my way, and I haven't spent all that time on myself. So I had to turn around and put it on myself. And then but now I'm good, and I have things to work on, and I work on them. But now I can help. That's why the podcast is now versus before, or the music. I put out the album when I put it out, and now I'm working on the next one for when the next one was. If not, I would have made it 2 years prior or 2 years later. You know what I mean? But I got to the point where I was ready. I was confident in myself to now I can help other people. I can, do whatever, give help with the iPad situation, whatever the situation. Whatever. Like 2 months ago or a month ago, I couldn't help anyone financially. Now I have enough financially where it might hurt me a little bit, but if it's necessary, I will help wherever I can help. You know what I mean? But
I feel like a good analogy to that would be like if your airplane was crashing, right? And like, how they have like the masks that come down, like you got to help yourself, put on the mask first.
Yeah. They always tell you. Right? Yeah, exactly. Because if you pass out, then your kid's gonna
freak out.
If you're good, you can help your kid.
You can help your neighbor over there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can help out once you got your stuff figured out.
Yeah.
But like, if you can only help out for 2 minutes and I need you for 5 minutes, then
you're gonna wear out.
Yeah, you're probably more detrimental than helping, right?
So that's why it just feels as a country like we have to but how do we how do you change it? And the only way is if enough people collectively have a thought or an idea that, or like you have enough people that get enough people and we all merge. Like you have like the Joe Rogans, people who listen to Joe Rogan. What do you say?
You're falling back in the mic.
Oh yeah, people who listen to Joe Rogan, versus like, and then everyone who listens to this podcast, and everyone who listens to Kanye West, and everyone who listens to and everyone who listens to, Kendrick Lamar, and everyone who listens to everyone who listens to this, motivational speaker or whatever it might be, knowledge passer, whatever, and then those people say, okay, boom, and then say they all have a collective, which is what they do anyway on the other side. You have all the people who are the fronts of the entertainment business or the whatever, the people who are told what to say or what views to have or whatever. You get all their followers, and if it's someone like maybe a Taylor Swift or one of these big, they got so many people, and then you send a message through them. Like you have Travis Kelce on the vaccine commercial, and then now he's with Taylor Swift, and now you got this connection where you're passing a message through all these different, and then now instead of having to tell 1 million people one thing, you have 10 people telling 100,000 people one thing, but they all got the same message. You know what I mean? So you have to reverse it on the light side of the conversation of if we have to have some sort of thought, idea, plan, something where one of my ideas is no one goes to work. It would screw everything up for a time being, but it's like anyone who's like, this is like the companies would have to, the Walmarts that would have to do, because the only reason why their store runs is because people go there and buy stuff and people work doing whatever jobs. Now they're trying to find AI to cut some of those out, but there's always going to be some sort of human aspect in the company, right? So it's like all these big corporations, Amazon doesn't work without the drivers, even the independent ones, all the stuff. So it's like that's how Amazon runs. But if no one went to the warehouse, the boxes aren't getting filled, the products aren't getting shipped. No one's buying them. You know what I mean? Now Amazon has to change something about that. How much they pay, how much this, how much that. You know what I mean? All the different stuff. But individually, if 100 people all do this, 100 people tomorrow don't go Monday morning, don't go to work, they don't pay their taxes, they don't pay this, they don't pay that. All 100 people are getting cleaned up fast. You know what I mean? But you have 10 million, 100 million people all do this, all don't, that it shows has some sort of effect. I don't know if it would be, but at the end of the day, I don't know if that would be good or bad. But the extreme of just enough people saying no to the system of this, it's unfair or whatever.
Let's take Walmart for an example.
Okay.
Right. So, how many people do you think it would take to close down Walmart? Like people just not shopping there anymore.
I don't know how many people shop. Probably a lot. Almost every.
So like I would say like, cause like
75% of the shoppers at Walmart.
Okay.
Because think about think about if Target started paying their employees like boom, or Target started doing this in the community, like every month Target gives away this much money to the roads of the community or to the schools of the community, so people are going to their Target because they know that this money's going back to their community, or this, you know what I mean? Then people are gonna start going to Target. Now what's Walmart gonna do?
They're probably gonna do the same stuff.
But it's still gonna be,
right.
But then you still then enough people have to still you have to go, okay, now if Walmart does one thing, all the people go back to, you know what I mean? You can't let it fall back in where now they can they give you, once you got pushed back 2 steps and you go 1 forward. You're always going back 1. Versus we have to push them back 2 steps. And every time they try to take a step forward, we go 2 steps back. Now you lose this, now you lose that, you know what I mean? And then right now, a lot of the struggle of the nation is the housing crisis of mortgage rates being so high. There's no way logistically anyone can really, without help, own a house. You know what I mean? Unless you make on the top percentage of the whatever. But a family who's trying, just a classic mom, dad working whatever used to be a good job, like a decent job to get you by or whatever, stuff like that. What was I saying? Again, tough.
Well, I'll say this. I would say how many people do you think live in America? 330 million?
That's a stat I kind of want to know, but I forget. I always forget.
I feel like it's 330 million.
Yeah.
So, if you take, what percentage of Americans do you think shop at Walmart consistently? Let's say like once a month. Like 60 maybe.
Like 60%, 70%. Honestly, a lot.
You think more than 60?
I think almost everybody. Like, I don't know a person who doesn't go to Walmart.
And like I'm not including Sam's Club.
I would say 80% of the world, because 80% of the United States. Because dude, I don't know anyone who doesn't go to Walmart.
I feel like most people who are in that 1% range don't go to Walmart.
Except, I guess Amazon might have changed the game because a lot of people order shit now, but they still might order from Walmart or whatever. But
there was probably like a hot period where I didn't shop at Walmart for like 3 or 4 years, and it wasn't really like I had a deliberate choice not to shop at Walmart.
Yeah.
I just didn't go there because it was it wasn't close by.
Yeah, but if there was one right down the road, it could be you need some toilet paper and Costco's too far away for the day. It's like 9 o'clock. You need to go. Costco's closed. Walmart's still open. But think about it. Walmart used to be open for 24 hours.
Yeah, now it's not.
So now, when that was going on, bro, people can go like people who work during the day or like during the nights or whatever, and they got off at like 3 a.m. And it's like people who work at like a nightclub or whatever, they get off at 3, 4 a.m. Now you could go to Walmart and you might have started your day at 9 p.m. Now you can go to Walmart, have your dinner or whatever, but like Outback is closed, so you have to make your own steak at that time. You know what I mean? But now it's gone. What are you left with? Like McDonald's and or the couple, and not every single McDonald's is 24 hours. You know what I mean? Some
you have
closed.
Waffle House. There's Denny's.
Yeah.
Couple like other.
So you're left with less options.
Yeah.
But
most diners in the north are open 24 hours. I want to say.
Yeah. But I remember what I was saying about the housing, but like.
Well, at least they used to be, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not since COVID.
But because the housing market is so, whatever, you have these big companies, like these top 3 companies who have a bunch of money. And they're trying to buy up all the houses, so they can buy up all the houses and rent them to people, and then you're trapped, and then you're never gonna buy. You know what I mean? But if the mortgage rate was 3%, more people would buy the houses, be able to afford them, and then you have more ownership in the house. And then say like your community, your neighborhood community, that you just went to a community, whatever, people would feel like a part of it. Like, this is like my house, this is like that's our community. We're gonna, maybe have a party or a celebration or maintain it, or like, what I mean? People care about the community. But if you're just renting there for 1 or 2 years, what do you care if they put like a Walmart or a Target? Which one? You know what I mean? Who cares if this goes here, this goes here? Who cares if the schools suck? Because my kid's only 2 years old. By the time he's 4, I'm going to take him out of here anyway. But, I'm going to live here for 10 years. Are you needing the schools can't suck? Your kid's going to inevitably go to it. These different things. But not having that sense of your property, your space, your whatever, people are losing that, So then they don't care about the little things, about what maybe you used to care about. If you had like your grandparents, for instance, like
if you think about it, for like, and like my grandpa told me gave me this like insight. He told me that he bought, and you've seen my grandparents' house. Mm-hmm. They have there's a 2-story house. So
technically 3 because you have the basement there.
Well, yeah,
it's a little basement.
It's a 2-story house and it has a basement. And there's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, or really 1.5 bathrooms, because like one of them doesn't have a shower. But it's an old house. It's like well over, I think it's like 200 years old or something like that. It's an old
crazy.
House.
Definitely some history in that.
And on top of it being an old house, there's a bar in it that used to belong to like a bootlegger, like during like Prohibition, and his name was like Snooky. I'm not sure too much about his history. That's all I know from what my grandpa told me about it. Anyways, they bought the house for, I think it was like 106,000.
Mm-hmm.
Might have even been less than that, and that was like 50 years ago. But like that was a nice house, and they live like the property value there is a lot higher. It's in New Jersey, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah, my
But
grandma bought her house for like a couple $100,000 and sold it for like $1 million,
that's
like
a lot.
800. Like it was like a big increase in whatever. And like even my dad sold his house recently for more than he bought it for. So it was like, it's going up or whatever. But even if the price went up, if it's not about how much the house costs, it's how much do they take away from you each month when you're trying to pay it back.
And that's another factor.
Like if the house costs $100,000 and you're paying $1,000 a month, but they take away 800 of it, now you're only paying 200 a month. You're never gonna pay that shit off. You know what I mean? But
well,
if the
I
house
guess
costs,
that's honestly where inflation comes
but if the
in
house,
your favor, right? Because like once you get a more, like you can get a set. I think you can get a set mortgage rate.
yeah.
And
But they're
like,
still setting you at like a high, like
Oh,
it
yeah,
should
for
be super
sure,
low.
yeah.
Because if you're paying 1,000 and you lose like 50 or you lose 100, now you're paying 900. You're gonna be able to pay that off, even if it's more money. Because even if it costs $100,000 more, but you make $150,000 more by not losing it, then you're gonna be able to pay it off. And you're gonna have some more money on top of that. And then what do you do with that money? You buy shit. The economy runs. You buy stuff for your community. You're trying to always build. You might rebuild the house. You know what I mean?
So
And
what
then
do you think would be like a fair mortgage rate?
well, RFK
percentage?
Jr. said 3%.
3%.
I
That's
haven't
what I was
I
thinking.
haven't done the research to know Faraday or whatever. But if he's saying 3%, then sure, whatever the number is fair that people can logistically work, pay their house off, and then by the time they retire, even have money if they're smart and they save their money or whatever, they can even renovate their house, then they can improve it for the next 10, 15 years to come. By the time they're passed on, either their kids take it or someone else buys it, and then they can restore it. And that way, you have, instead of having a whole neighborhood go shut down because all the houses are trashed, you have slowly the houses getting rebuilt over time, where it's like by the owner, and it doesn't take excess people to do it.
Yeah, but I will say like, and like I love the idea, and like I'm not trying to poke holes in it, but like when you throw out any ideas, you have to kind of wrestle like with like what's the devil's advocate it, right? I feel like how would you encourage people to do it other than just saying that it'd be a lower insurance rate to like keep building upon the house?
Well, think about it. Like what do you want? Like you want to have a house, right?
Eventually, for sure.
That's yours or whatever. And even if we had the idea of like,
Right.
and we all have our own little ones, like you want to have your piece or whatever, or even if it's the big house, your piece of it, So, but at the end of the day, the goal is to be able to have a place where you can raise kids, and majority of people want that.
For sure.
Now, some people like being in an apartment style with a lot of people around. Some people like having a ranch, a farm, or whatever, and all in between. But at the end of the day, the point right now is that people don't even have the option. Like the amount of people that are actually getting, if you don't make like over 150,000, 200,000, you're not going to be able to pay the house off, which means when you retire, you can't live in that house. You got to, even if it's a smaller house, like how much can you really downgrade? If you have $1 million house, you can downgrade to a 500,000. But if you're in a $200,000 house, $150,000 house, and you haven't been able to accumulate whatever, because whether it's the system's been built to get whatever happens, then where you downgrade from 150 to 75,000, like how many houses are really like that? You know what I'm saying? But if you have the ability to buy the house, it might only be a $250,000 house, but then you can spend $50,000 renovating it at the end of your career, and now you built it up where now you can live in your house again. There's a reason your grandparents haven't left their house.
Right.
They like their house. They like whatever. And if
they took the time and to renovate it, and I'm
Yeah.
not disagreeing with you on that.
and if
but,
they
like,
had more money, they would
what-
probably have renovated even more.
what I don't understand is, and like I guess maybe like you're taking in the belief that like everyone's gonna act good and act in good faith, right? But I guess what I don't understand is like how do you guarantee that people are gonna improve on their house? How do
Well, they don't have.
guarantee
You don't
that
have to
people are
guarantee, but eventually
like take care of the house.
it could based off property value. You could have a whole row of houses, and this one looks like trash. So this one's only worth 100,000. These ones are worth 300,000.
But that's not how it works, unfortunately.
Yeah,
right?
but that's how it works right now. But
Yeah.
how it works right now is that you buy a house with 10% mortgage rate, never be able to pay it off. Eventually, something happens, you get to sell your house, and who's going to buy it? One of these big three companies, and now the company owns it, and they don't need to sell because they have a bunch of money.
Okay, but think about it like this, right? Let's say that you got a mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the most beautiful mansion you could ever have fountains in the front, like 18-car garage, tennis pool, like tennis court, pool, like everything that you could think of, anything you could want, right? But right at the front gates of your mansion, Golden Gates, right? Across the street is a trailer park, and half of it's set on fire, half of it's like a homeless camp, half of it and like you know what I'm saying, like undesirable, like location. Do you under this new thing? So you're saying that mansion shouldn't be demonetized or devalued because of what's across the street from it?
I'm saying that. I mean, no, because the house is whatever the house is worth. There has to be some sort of level where, because they can just make it whatever they want. My point right now is what I'm saying is that right now in current society, if something happens, you own your house, something happens to you, you can't pay for it, you have to sell it. Who can buy it? The amount of people, actual people that can buy it are getting lower and lower and lower.
Definitely.
And who's gonna buy it? A company. And once a company owns it, as long as the company stays afloat and they have a bunch of houses and they're always renting, now you have to rent this house out and you lose the option to buy it. You lose the option to have a chance to renovate it. You were losing the option. That's the point. If you don't renovate your house and it goes to shit, then that's on you. But if you actually had a fair chance to own the property, and then not only own it, but be able to work on it after you retire or whatever pension you get. And if we're just saying honest wage.
I get that though. I get that. But like, okay, but like, you're saying, I feel like you're guaranteeing that like people are gonna do the right thing though, and like rebuild their house, pass it on to the people.
Well, they don't have, like, but if they don't, someone else will come buy it because they have money. They can actually. But right now, how much of your wages do you actually keep?
Not very much.
Can you actually buy? You can't buy 150,000, 250,000, 350,000, 450,000, 550, and a one that was 150 before is now 700, 600.
Right.
How can you? And that's inflation right there. Okay, right. Okay, cool. But at the same time, it's like if you sit out a contract and you're buying this house and they tell you that you will never be able to own it, but you can live here as long as you want. But then you go over here and it's smaller. All the houses might be shit, but you have 30 people who are all on the mission that you're going to be able to own this house. And when you do, you can build it up. And in 30 years, now this whole neighborhood becomes a great neighborhood because 30 people decided that they all and families wanted to live here and build their house.
I think it's
just like your grandfather. But what society is pushed in, but now we're going to lose the option. Like your grandfather had the option to buy the house. It was in a range where it took him time, I'm sure, to pay it off. But then he was able to renovate it at some time. But now it's like the only way that, like, just for instance, like, Calvin and Bree and them, and you guys,
right.
Like, you guys didn't just go to like a real estate agent and go like land a house and go buy it. You know what I mean? It was took help.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, but why in society now you have to have help? The only people that are going to be able to get it are the people who made enough money for them and someone else. But most people in society, you have single mothers working 2 jobs trying to just pay the rent. And the thing about it is the rent, that it never accumulates back to them. The thing about the house is that it always accumulates back to you. You could let the house go to trash and sell it for what you bought it for, even if the rest of the neighborhood goes up. Or you go up with it and you sell it for a little more. And then there's people out there that love to buy houses and flip them. If people have enough money, you can go take an old neighborhood. If you go to Atlanta right now, there's going to be some neighborhood with boarded up windows, everything's whatever. You take one person with $1 billion, one person with $1 billion, or 10 people with like $10 million. You all go there and you rebuild it and you build it up and make it a place people can go. Eventually, it will get to the point where people will go there and whatever. But the whole point of this, if you are renting, you will never have the respect or never have to even care about the school, the road, what your house looks like, because in 5 years, you're not going to be able to live here. The reason my dad sold his house because he knew, now different circumstances happened with my mom or whatever, and his life changed, but my dad knew he wouldn't be able to retire and have the house paid off for. So what did he do? He sold it. You know what I'm saying? But if the mortgage rate was lower, he might have been able to, and maybe he wouldn't have sold it, and maybe we would all still be over there. You know what I'm saying? Now, life happened how it happened. I'm not saying that it was good or bad, but the point of giving the person the option, like my dad my dad makes enough, like he makes a good amount of money. So the fact that he makes a good amount of money and he still can't buy that. So what job is better than that? Like a fucking become a shock trauma person up to a person.
Well, I guess like the other factor would be like how old was your dad when he bought it, right?
Yeah, even so. But okay, yeah,
Because like that matters, right? Because
yeah,
if he was
but
30 years old when he bought it,
yeah,
and like he's on track to, if it's a 30, or even if he's older, let's say like I'm not sure how old your dad is
yeah.
right now. I'm gonna guess he's probably in his.
If he would have bought it when he
50s.
was, yeah, if he, especially in Georgia, he would have been able, if he would have moved here earlier.
Right.
But what his job is that there's only so many jobs, so you have to wait for one to open and then get chosen. So it's like, so he made his decision to move from Detroit to Baltimore, and we lived in Baltimore for however long until Baltimore didn't work anymore, and then he changed to Georgia, and now he's in his job in Georgia, and now he's doing so. And my dad hasn't made the best financial decisions. 100%, he should probably be a little more better off. I agree, but
I'm not even commenting on
I'm
that. I'm saying that he hasn't had as much time to pay off the house.
Exactly,
as
but
my age,
point is that if the mortgage rate was half or even a third, like if it goes from 9-10% to 3%, and you're instead of getting at 100 out of your $10 or out of your $100, you lose like 50 of it, but then now you only lose 10 of it. Now you're spending 90 each time. He might have been able to do it. You know what I'm saying? And the money's just going to the company just because they loaned you it or whatever, right? So it's like, and my point is that he makes whatever he makes, but the average American makes this much, like 40, whatever it is, 45, 50K, whatever the hell it is. That's the average American. So we're talking about the average person making $50,000 a year. Maybe they shouldn't be buying a $600,000 house, but if in your mind, if it's $600,000 and you can make 50 a year, you should be able to pay it off in 15 years with expenses and stuff, right?
Right.
But then you embark on that journey, or you go to a $250,000 one and it only takes 5-6 years. But the point is, when you spend those years, you can't put the 50,000 to it because you have other expenses. But then even if you did put 50, they're gonna take away 25 of it.
Well, I feel like a lot of it also starts out with, like, if you look at, like, the market crash of, like, 2009, 2008, right, where they were, like, selling people houses like it was, like, candy. You know, like, they weren't making sure that people could actually pay for it or anything like that. And, like, so I feel like that has a big factor into it also.
Yeah.
And, like, the insurance rates probably were also insanely high, which caused the factor of that, right? And I would have to look more into it.
The point is the economy flourishes with people buying and selling, and right? That's how the economy works. But you take all the money away from the people, then people are just on the bare minimum, whatever they can get. You're going to buy the ramen noodles. Instead of, if the ramen noodles and the other noodles were the exact same price or whatever, and you had you can get a nice oven, you can get a nice high industrial shit, not the bottom where they sell you this piece of crap that breaks every whatever, and you gotta buy a new one. Like basically shoes, right. Walmart brand shoes versus like a Reebok, like, you know what I mean? Like the Walmart work shoe is only gonna last me like 3 months good, and then 6 months bad, and then it's trash for the next 3. Like shouldn't be wearing it.
But I'm still wearing it, right? Because you pushed it too, right?
But another shoe, if I would have spent an extra $60, $70, right? $80 on it, then I would have gotten a better. It would have lasted me a little longer. But the point being is, like, that's choices. I could have made that choice, but we're losing the choice. You got to spend $80 on that piece of shit shoe that's gonna last you 9 months, and at the 9 months it's gonna be unwearable, but you wear it anyway. And for 6 months it's been hurting your feet, and it's only good for 3 months. Versus what used to be the $80 product is now $160, and whatever. And then if you have to borrow money to pay it off, instead of actually being able to, instead of getting money, it's like, I can pay you back. It's like you get money for them to own it and you just to pay them so you can live there. And you're never going to be able to pay it just based off the percentages and go. And the average person can't own their house. But it all comes back to my feeling is that if people can have the ability to own their house, where they build a sense of community, then they will care about the school, the road, how their house looks, how their neighbor's house looks, how their neighbor's doing.
I guess
whatever.
Like also another factor would be like the fear of failing in buying a house, right? So you live in an apartment, like you say you move out of your parents, you live in an apartment for 4 or 5 years saving up money, and you're afraid to buy the house, right? Because you don't want to put all that money in there, invest, fail, and then still have to live in an apartment,
Yeah.
and have your credit be way worse off.
But there
right?
should be options where you can go to get a little house. Like before you get the 5-bedroom house, you can get a 2-bedroom house or a one. But people do that with apartments, and they're in that apartment style. But you could own a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom houses, and there's always going to be a dude 5 years younger than you, starting a family, that in 5 years you could sell him it at a reasonable price, even if you make a couple grand. You know what I mean? But at a price where now he can support his family for 5 years, and now you got to upgrade to the 3-bedroom house. And then eventually you can upgrade to the 5-bedroom house. And then once you get there, you can build it, and whether your family stays there or whether, and now you have this community where for 4 generations, all the families have lived in this one community. And their grandparents know their grandparents, and their sons know their grandsons, and all this shit. And then you have this sense of community. You're going to care about, that's the tribe, all those Native American tribes, all those people cared about their land, had a spiritual relationship with the animals. And it was generations and generations and generations. You know, so people will inevitably in their nature care about their home, their family, because you need a home, you need a place to live surrounding. Now, some people like to be in a more populated area, and if you do, you know that you're going to have less space because there's less space for everyone. But you have the choice to go over here. You can go over here if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But then all in between, all those years you spent renting, you know what I mean? It could be you rent it, but like it could still be a system where there is rent or there is where you get loans or whatever, but not to the point where the loan is just to get like, if you give me 100, like I owe you $100,
Right.
but then in 2 days now I owe you 120. Like eventually I'm not gonna be able to. There's comes to a point where you can't catch up because of just how much income is around you. Now, some people make better decisions, or they think of an idea or whatever, or they get blessed, or they get more money, and then they can make these decisions. Yes, and people have that option, but the amount of options has been getting slowly decreased over time. You know, and I definitely think that having a sense, like people would, like basically your apartment, when you lived in that apartment, you didn't really give a shit about if they're gonna renovate it, if
No.
whatever, because you knew you were leaving soon. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But if you owned that apartment, you would have made sure that it was good enough so when you did leave, someone else would want it. Would you not?
For sure.
100%. So, but you didn't own it, and whatever, and whatever, and whatever. So you didn't give a shit. As long as you didn't have to pay $1,000 when you left because it was wrecked. You know what I mean? You maybe had to pay like whatever because they always try to get you when
Right.
you leave
No, for sure. I mean, like those apartments are designed
to trap you in.
to get trapped.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. So it's like, and then on top, now you're trying to, and all those people are trying to live there so they can get to the next step. But the point is, like, they're not telling you once you go here, it's hard to get to. It's gonna be way harder to get there.
Well, cause like there's so many like hidden messages in the contract. Like, I want to say, you shouldn't have to give like a 3-month notice that you're gonna move out when your lease is up in 3 months.
Yeah.
You should give, at least maybe like a 30-day notice. I could get that.
No, it should be the lease is up at this date, and unless you want
to resign 30 days, right? If you want to resign, you give a 30 days notice.
Yeah, that could be in their policy. Like,
then you're out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But
3 months, you might not know 3 months.
But what they make you do is they make you sign the contract in 3 months in advance, right? Or basically what they'll do is like give us a 3 month advance saying you're gonna move out. If not, then we're gonna auto renew your contract with a new charge. And a lot of times they'll increase the rent the second time.
And then even an extra $500, like it all matters because you can't get that time back that you made that $500.
Yeah, but if you don't cancel, right, they'll charge you a fee.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They'll charge you the full month rent.
It doesn't matter what the price is.
Right?
Like if you get a speeding ticket, doesn't matter if it's $30 or $120 or $500. It all sucks because you know that it's going to. It's literally like if you just burned the money. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you're trying to buy this house. That the houses are expensive. It is an expensive item in the world. Okay, I get that. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that it's so expensive that no one can buy it. Except for the Walmarts and the Amazons and the big, I'm not going to say the 3 companies, but the big companies that just take it out. And then we have to rent forever because no one's going to be able to beat the $1 trillion business. One person? No.
Definitely not.
You know what I'm saying? But it takes people in general to do it. So, but I think, and it's like, yeah, if instead of the apartment buildings, like, like in a sense, like the apartment could own the land, right? They had the apartment, and it's like every time you sell it, they get a piece. You know what I mean? And as long as you pay the electricity, the whatever, it pays for itself. But then every time it switches hands, you can get a piece of that. You know what I mean? Like I get 2%, whatever it is, every time it switches hands. But then you actually own it. So you own it, 98% of it, right? And then you sell it to someone else. You're gonna make sure that your piece, because someone else might go to the apartment right next to you because they kept it better. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But yours is it's harder to sell. You would have maintained it even better than you did. You know, it's not saying that you trash your apartment. You know what I'm saying? But it would have been on your, because you would have known that someone else is gonna buy this. I'm not staying it forever. Someone else is gonna want to buy this, and you got to think about yourself. If I'm myself, I want to buy. When I go to my next spot, I want it to be good too.
How much would you price a two bedroom apartment?
Location matters.
So like, let's just say like, Midtown Atlanta, right? Like, what would your guesstimate be?
I would say like, depending on where and how nice, I would say like the average I would say would be like, in this day and age, like 100,000.
100,000.
You know what I mean? Because even if you don't have like, I think I make like 30,000. If I tried harder or if I spent more time, I could probably make some more, like
for
50,000.
a 2 bedroom apartment.
To say you made 50,000.
To own it.
Yeah. So then you might take a loan. It might take you 3 years at 50,000 a year to get to 100,000 to buy it. But now you own it. So now in your 4th year, you can sell it to someone. You get 100,000. Now you go buy a $250,000 house, and it takes you another 3, 4, 5 years to get it. Hopefully you have a spouse at this time, and now you both are making 50. Now you have 100, and you'll be able to pay it off. And then now you're 6, 7 years down the road. Now you buy a $500,000. Now you have kids. Boom, boom. And then when you retire, you can decide to either get to the main big house that you want for you and your family for generations, or you downsize back to what you need, just you and your spouse, a couple extra rooms for people. You go back to a $500,000, $250,000 house, and now your kids are set up all along the way where you were able to give them space, growth, money to do what they needed to do and stuff. Like, you're not, every dollar is going to the house or going to this, and now you can't buy your kid the Reebok shoes or the whatever shoes.
I feel like if you wanted to pay it off though in 2 or 3 years, that you would have to give every dollar to the house.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you had two people, right,
Right,
who both make $50,000 a year, and in this day and age with expenses, yes, but theoretically you make $50,000, you should be able to pay it in 2 years. But there's other expenses.
right.
Now you have $50,000. Now you have $200,000 in 2 years, and it only costs $100,000. You should be able to live with $100,000 for 2 years, within those means. There's a way to do that, because I don't make $100,000 and I live within those means.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then, in that sense, you should be able to. Now, some people might not. It might take them longer, because they spend more or whatever. But the point being is, you have the option.
Because, like, ideally, right, in my head, I just ran it through. It's like, if you pay $1,000 a month in rent, obviously, like, that'd be $12,000 a year, right? So it'd take you roughly, like, 8 years to pay it off.
Yeah. That's only if you, but you have to pay $1,000.
Yeah.
You can pay $2,000.
You could pay $2,000.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
But if you're paying $2,000, then you're already kind of cutting a lot of that paycheck, right?
Yeah.
For only one person.
But
if
also,
you have 2 people that are making $50,000.
Yeah. But also, it depends on, like, right now, you're gonna just throw that $12,000 away anyway, and you don't get any piece of it. But at least you're building you're bringing ownership to the people. You're letting the people, even if it's $100,000 worth or $1 million house, they get to own it. They have something that's theirs. They care about it, whatever. And then when it's time, they pass it off to the next person, whether it's within the family or out of it. You know what I mean? And then, but what the apartment does, they buy all the apartments. They barely keep them up, and they charge you the max amount to keep people in there, and they're just making crazy money. You know what I'm saying? None of those people get to own anything, and it doesn't help them at all.
And they also get to make money off of people just moving in. Like, they get so much money off.
On top of the fact that they just spent 2 years out of their years, and like you said with my dad, how much time did he have? He lost all those years from a rent here, whatever it might have been. In any person's scenario, you spent how many time you spent at the apartment, at the other house. You know what I'm saying? And now this house is going to you guys are building. You know what I'm saying? In that, because it will at the end of the day, this is going. It's not going to the government or to the apartment complex or to the Walmart or to the Amazon. It's gonna go back to the family. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
I could dig that.
So it's like, and then that's only gonna help you, help everyone, help help further what it is. Because now if you get to the point where you've spent 15 years of your 25-year work life getting to the house that you wanted to get to, and you've paid it off. Now you have 10 years to save. You have 10 years, and now you can renovate it. You can move somewhere else if you want. You can enjoy the rest. You can actually, and you're always going to be buying shit, not just the instant noodles or the whatever. You can go support that restaurant. You can tip that waiter. You know what I'm saying? You can go on that vacation. You can help that country get the tourists. You know what I mean? All those things matter. But if you can't afford the cruise because you spent every dollar on rent, then that person who's selling whatever, you're going to give them $5, you can turn that $5 American. Now in Jamaica, they're not going there anymore. You can't go there. You know what I'm saying? And now there's a bunch of people who have different amounts of money. But for the average person, life shouldn't be this fucking uphill enslavement to the tax, into the insurance, into the mortgage rate system. For the big companies on the top just to funnel in money, unfathomable amounts of money.
Well, it's crazy also because, like, you can also look at, like, other countries where, like, we'll be charged for an iPhone for, like, thousands of dollars, right? But if you go to, like India, right? An iPhone in India is probably only, like, the same iPhone, right? iPhone 13, iPhone 14 is probably only, like, $200.
True.
And so, like, a lot of companies, these Fortune 500 companies, are making the most of their money off of us because America is, like, that bustling economy, right? And then they still sell the same products to the other countries that they give to us, just at lower rates because they can't afford the same prices that we pay.
Yeah.
So
at the end of the day,
is that fair?
The option, 100%. Not, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think it just really comes down to options, like having the option, like not saying that. If you don't work hard or you don't make enough money or you choose a job path or whatever, you don't make $1 million and you can't have $1 million house. Doesn't mean you should never be able to own $100,000 house that you can renovate. Even if it looks bad now, you can spend $25,000-$50,000 in time and renovate it so that it does look nice. It might only be 2 bedrooms and 1.5 bath. You know, but maybe you can renovate it to add an extra shower or add an outdoor shower. You know what I'm saying? Or make the whatever it might be the house is 200 years old but doesn't look it looks like it because you want it to look like it's 200 years old. You know what I mean? Not that the floorboards are cracked and the foundation's going, but the foundation of the house is strong. It's always getting built. It's always better. It's with the times. But you can keep the look though if you want. You can keep that
rustic.
Yeah, you can keep the history in it if you want to. But it can still, there's enough technology now where you can renovate a house. They put up a house in the movie that looks exactly like an old thing or whatever. You know what I mean? You just build it. You just build it to look like that or whatever. Or you just keep up the stuff that really makes it old. You help maintain those and you make sure that the foundation and everything else is good. And then when your grandparents, it's their time to move on to the next place, they leave it to whoever in your family, whatever. And now but now you know it's your grandparents' house. They have whatever, and you have the same love and respect for the house. You're not going to trash it or whatever, and you're going to make sure that if you does leave the family, it goes to a good, you know what I mean? All those things. And that's just humanity. Deep down, we all want to have a place to lay our head at night. We want to have the family that we love around us. We all want to be successful in whatever success means to us, you know, and you want to be able to get to that point where you're on the rocking chair if you want to smoke a joint or if you don't, you know, with the people you love and be able to share memories and whatever. But the way it's looking now is that you're going to be still having to go to Walmart when you're 65 to be able to pay for the apartment building or whatever, or else your ass is going to the community center, the old age home, because you can't afford to live anywhere else. And it's like now you're confined to the old age prison versus like you're still able to move around and stuff, but you know, maybe you can't stand anymore, so you can't work at Walmart. You know what I mean? Different things. But it's like giving people the option to be able to own something versus like a big company and we all own nothing and we're just happy. That's what they say. You'll own nothing and be happy. But the point is to be able to own something, like own a land, own a horse, you know, own a car. You know, you don't want to like people lease out their cars.
Well, that's the American dream, right? To do your own thing.
Yeah.
So.
But then like at the end of the day, like the cars is different because the cars deteriorate in different ways or whatever, you know. So it's like I can understand people getting a loan to buy a car just to have it for a couple years. Like I just want this car for a couple years. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like most people want to be able to have a car that they own and they want it to last.
Right.
You know, like I want if I buy this car at 2020, I want it to last till it's 2040. It might be a piece of shit in 2040. You know what I'm saying? But as long as I do the work to keep it up, keep it, and whatever, it should still run and should be good. And this $30,000-$40,000 investment over 20 years, you know, is now what, $2,000 a year investment. You know what I mean? Instead of a $40,000 for 2 years, and then it crashes and whatever. You know, so there should be the options. There should be the nice shit, the expensive shit. But that doesn't mean you gotta give people ramen noodles. You can give people good noodles. You know what I mean? But maybe it doesn't have all the sauce, all the chicken, all the whatever. It's just noodles, butter and noodles. But at least you can live off that, you know, or you can make your own, you know.
Add a little salt and pepper to it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Then and if you work hard enough in this society, there's always options. There's always a new idea, a new innovation, a new job opening up or whatever. And if you align yourself in a job that you feel is with your spirit, and if it's whatever it is, and you don't feel like you're going to work, like what you do, you know what I mean? It's not like you're drudging, like putting suit and tie, like going to, like say that, like it's you enjoy doing it
right
enough where it's worth, no matter, even if it made you $1 million or 100,000 or 1,000. You know what I'm saying? Like you do it because you enjoy doing it.
For
so
sure.
It's less of a job, you know, versus like having to go to the work in the kitchen and grind in the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely days where like I miss the kitchen, but like I don't really.
You know,
I would actually genuinely miss this job if I left it. If I had to leave it for whatever reason.
But at least when you're doing something. So if people align themselves with that, then you can work hard enough in it where it can get you what you want, you know, in some ways, or it'll get you to the point of where you've done what you're supposed to do in this job, and now you're ready to go to the next one, and then that will get you to the whatever, you know what I mean? But you can if you work hard, you can get something. You can get rewarded for it.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And some people might not be able to. Some people's job might just be to raise the next generation, whether it's the mother or the father, stay home mom, stay home dad. Maybe their purpose is to do that, but then they have to have the consciousness not to just spend money and whatever if you're not doing that part. You know what I'm saying? And then the father has to have the consciousness of, or the mother, if they're the one working all the time, if the mother's setting rules at home, you got to follow that, whatever, because she's setting the foundation for the child's growth, you know, and you're helping with the finance, whatever it is. You have to respect both sides of whatever's going on, but people can. So I do believe like people might still just go fuck off and do drugs and do whatever, or they might just fuck off and gamble, or they might just want to just chill at home and play Xbox and PlayStation, whatever it might. There's always going to be that, but being able to make money, knowing that there's an actual path that you can get to, versus like if you buy this house knowing that unless a miracle happens, you're never going to own it. So you're just here for the time being. You're really just renting, and you're hoping that the market goes up, not down. Just like my dad bought his house and it went 200,000 or whatever amount of thousand higher than he bought it instead of lower. If it was lower, he would have been screwed in that sense.
Right.
But it was higher, so he didn't get to live there for the rest of his life, but he got something out of it. You know, how much money did he spend during it? It might have not equaled. I don't know. You know, but the person, and even the person who bought it, they're not going to be able to, unless they have a great income. They're not going to be able to buy that house. They're going to, once their kids get old enough and they're ready, they're going to sell it too. Unless something changes, where now the amount of money that gets put in, even if you get to put $1,000, then $1,000 goes in, or maybe 900 or 950,
right.
Not so much less. And depending on what rate you got, what company got bought by another company because they're whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, until it comes down to one corporation, like the Galactic Empire, and you have fucking Darth Sidious just sitting at the top of the shit, owning whatever. And if you say no, he just fucking lasers your house and lights on fire, and the insurance company doesn't help you rebuild. You know, but I feel like if we had community, then you would have gardens. You know, you'd have like more orchards and more whatever, because the basics of the community could feed off itself. You know, and the city is a little different because you're just compacted with people and there's no like farmland or whatever. But
I feel like that's really what most cities need, is just like more interconnection. I mean, like I feel like a lot of like northern cities and western cities have a lot of like public transportation and like job access for a lot of people who are in the cities. But when it comes to like Atlanta and South Carolina or it's Charleston, uh, Tampa. I'm not sure about Miami. I've never been there, but I know like they are in dire need for like infrastructure building.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Atlanta has the worst traffic in all of America, hands down. I swear, because like there's no planning.
But who has the time? Who has the time to go out to take a day off work to go to a big convention that talks about how do we make transportation better? No one, because you just paid to get there. You didn't make any money. Rent didn't stop, and it went up actually.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And oh, by the way, there's this other tax you got to pay. There's other. Oh, your car just hit. Oh, on the way there, your engine light went on. My car cost $1,000 like this week. And I just told my dad, I was like, I'm just at the point where I'm getting out of like hole, and then that happens. Like, of course,
Right.
you know what I mean. And it's like, can't get out. Did the car really break, or did it whatever? You know, did the car whatever? What outside forces? Why? Or is it just a lesson? Or is it just a whatever? Or is it just to slow me down, just so that I don't get there too fast? You know, or vice versa. And then it can be either the universe or the government. You know, back and forth, back and forth. Did the universe bring my ex-girlfriend to me, or did the government? You know, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Boom, boom, boom. You got to decide. And then when you decide, you have to just stick with that until you get proof of the other one. You know, because you can't sit there and it'll go crazy. You go mad. You know what I mean? You can't. So it's like, but
I feel like the government definitely has a powerful force. It's a powerful force, but I don't think it sets you up with your ex-girlfriend type of powerful force.
My ex-girlfriend's mom worked for NSA.
Facts.
So
Still though,
it's not a farce. It's not like she worked at like Walmart and I'm
right.
this fucking bitch worked at Walmart and she fucking didn't even scan her items when she left. And then when I tried to do it, there was 10 feds on me. You know what I mean? It's not like that, but it's just the thought, like the possibility. It's in the realm. Okay, am I gonna bank that the government shot my car and now I had to go pay $1,000? No. Most likely the car is 20-year-old car or whatever, and it needs to be repaired. It just sucks that it costs $1,000 at this time. That's all. That's the majority. But the other thought doesn't mean that I'm just throwing that one out. I'm just like, well, of course. You know what I mean? Why now? Why did the engine light come on today, not yesterday? Or whatever. Or tomorrow. Or in 2 weeks from now. I want to have it just a little more. You know? All the different thoughts. But at the end of the day, it's like, it happened, you know? And I paid it or whatever. And, you know? And, but at the end of the day, it's like, I think there's a percentage like it's like 60 or 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 if they on hand if they needed it. You know, and right now I have that, but I owe money, so technically I don't.
Right.
If I didn't owe any money, then I would have $1,000 right now. But I owe money, so I don't own. I technically don't. Someone else owns this money. It's just about how much do I have to pay for it. How much is the credit card bill interest versus the student loan interest? You know, how much is interest with my dad versus this? You know what I mean? And working out the balance of how do I pay all this and what's the best way that I don't lose my money, because I know I'm losing money no matter what. Every time you swipe your credit card, every time you do something that's not cash, there's a back end percentage that gets added. Our spot just started doing it where it shows you credit card payment and the cash payment. And when it gets to $100, it's like over $2 difference. So it's like, bring cash. And I told it.
Well, that's the crazy thing.
I told the boss, I was like,
many places don't accept cash anymore.
And they're cutting it out. But that's the thing. Like now, what everyone's currency is going to be tracked online. They're going to know if you spend $100, $200 on this or that. But until you can't use cash anywhere, you can buy anything with cash. Besides places that not let you, but you could technically give someone, if the place didn't let you buy the $2 bottle of water with a credit card, I'm sure you can convince someone, I'll give you $5 to swipe your card so I can have this water.
But then at that point, you're still paying more.
Yeah, right? You're still paying more, but you can still get it with the cash. You know what I'm saying? Someone else will have the means for you. Or someone might just give me $2. If it was me, I'd say just give me $2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask for the 5. They'd offer it, I'd give me 2. That's me. But sure, oh yeah, give me that 5.
I'll give you a great example.
Or you know what I tell them? I say get 2.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. And like it's a little off from the cash thing, but for the part that someone will do it. Calvin and I last week before we came here for the podcast, we stopped at the Quick Trip, and this lady, I think she was trying to like, I'm not exactly sure what her problem was, but she came up to me and she was like, "Hey, can I cash app you and have you pay for my things?" And she only had like a drink and like a candy or something like that. It was like $5 worth of stuff. Got her cash app. She sends it like me $10, and it's like, oh, that's too much. And she was like, nah, since you're doing it for me, here you go. So like that scenario happens a lot, I'm sure, where somebody you do them a favor and they just do it for you.
I wouldn't take the cash app, honestly. I'd either just give it to them for free or tell them no, but if it's cash, no app, I'll take it.
Fair.
Just because I don't really like dealing with that. I'll just use like Zelle or PayPal or, that's my form. But I just never really liked the Venmo even when I was in college too. And then you try to buy weed and people would be like, I could never understand the people who would allow getting a Venmo. Because I'm like, bro, you're just, now there's a trace.
Yeah.
One. And the worst thing to do is get a trace when you're like selling something you shouldn't be selling, And then on the other hand, you gotta now wait either 2 days to get the money for free. You can't just get it instantly. And then now you gotta take it out the bank account because I know for a fact probably the next dude above you isn't gonna take the Venmo. You know what I mean? They're gonna want the cash or whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then on the flip side, you always have cash. There was one time I was in Baltimore and I was at this it was like a German festival or whatever, German-based festival, but it was around Christmas or New Year's time, and maybe it was Thanksgiving, I can't remember. And then, but I went there and I was thirsty and I wanted to get a drink, and the dude was like, "No, we don't take cash." And I was just like, it was like a little booth. In my mind, I'm like, "Bro, you probably own this, dude. Just how do you not have like a gift card? You know what I mean? Where it's like $50 loaded on this." And someone doesn't like, oh, here you go, swipe and take the cash. Especially if it was a place with tips.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a $3.50 drink. Boom, here's a $5. You know what I mean? And all you did was you just had this extra credit card on the side just to swipe. If you you still took cash. You know what I mean? They don't. It's so weird. But they're trying to funnel it out.
You can take cash, but I won't give change or something like that.
Yeah, there's a way to, like, in my mind, I was like, you could have made more money, whether it was for you or for the company, if you were just taking my cash. There's a way for you to do it. Whether it's out of your account, whether you have a credit card, whether the company has a side thing. But at the end of the day, it's like the company doesn't want to deal with cash and they got to deal with whatever. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like there's no reason why they both can't coexist. There's no reason why you can't. If you don't want to walk around with cash, you don't have to. But there shouldn't be a reason why you can't use cash. You know what I mean? You should have the option.
Oh, for sure.
Option of privacy. I can give you $20. Doesn't matter what it's for. I don't have to Venmo you 20 and put a random emoji or random caption, whether it's about it or whether it's not, and no one has to know. I can give you $500, no one has to know. But now if I give you $500, 10% might be taxed on the Venmo or in the future.
Well, the 10% from Venmo is not taxed. That's just Venmo's tax.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
But not taxed in the physical tax,
Yeah.
but taxed just like the metaphorical taxing.
Yeah.
Every time you're just getting taxed. They're taxing you every time.
It's middleman.
I have a line like King John never left. Still Robin Hood's. It's like you watch Robin Hood. They had the sheriff walk around. The poor ass people trying to hide their coins, just ripping the coin, everything they got. They never can get anywhere else. And meanwhile, the king is just sitting in the castle with all the riches and whatever.
Facts.
And then the baby boy who's just born is just what? He's just doomed for a life of that. For what? What's the point of being? What's the point? The earth shouldn't be that. At the end of the day, the earth shouldn't be a place. It should be like a place of serenity, rejoice. A Bob Marley vibe where it's like everyone, one love. People are connected together. You care about the people in China as much as you care about the people in Africa.
For sure.
You can, and much as though you're next door neighbor. And now, not everyone might not be like that or whatever, but the majority of people, want to have a family. They want to feel at peace. You know, they want to feel comfortable. They want to be able to eat and drink water. You know what I mean? That's most people are content with that. Of course, you want to go vacation. You want to travel. A lot of people want to travel. But but at the end of the day, there's no reason that we can't progress as a society to get to the point where even if you don't have that much money, you can still get to this other country. Maybe you have to do a work program. Maybe you have to go help someone build their house. Maybe you have to go help work at the kitchen for 2 months. But you got your plane ticket to France for free, and now you can live there for 2 months, working and on vacation. Boom, boom, and you come home. You know what I mean? All around the world could be like that, but instead it's like, you know, right when you're born, you're given a social security number. You're part of the tax of the entire country. You know, you're part of the economic forum, all that shit, and then you're destined for this life where some people are as low as taking out a credit card in their kid's name. You know what I mean? And then not to build credit, but to use the shit because they can get $5,000 for the next year for free. Right. You know what I mean? And then the kid's just screwed. And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like now that everyone's going to be set up with different trials and tribulations and different things to help you, whatever you're supposed to go through to get to where you need to go or who you are or what you're supposed to do. But at the end of the day, the kid that was born, the baby boy that was born 3 weeks ago, doesn't need to be born to a world of war and taxation and this and this. And if we do need taxes because we all collectively agree that we should all put some money towards something as a collective, then we should be able to do the J Cole with the app, where you can be like, okay, I got $1,000 in taxes this year, or I got to pay $2,000 this year. Okay, and then we put $1,000 into the school, and then we put $500 into the highway right here. Then we put this into the sports program, the summertime for the kids. You know what I mean? Then we do that. Then we help build this park. You know what I mean? And then if you go show up and you help build the park, you get a tax credit on the next year. You know what I mean? Different things could be all incentives for people or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's ownership, and you have no matter if it's an acre or a half an acre or whatever, you have a space for you and your family to live, grow, and exist without it being controlled by people without a face on the top of this global corporation with a bunch of money, all because they were set up in a position to get that, and they never leave. You know what I mean? And everyone's enslaved to the money. You know, because some people aren't gonna go to Burger King, might not work at Burger King if they don't have to. You know, maybe they'll go work at an actual restaurant that they actually like cooking. You know, but it took them a year to figure out of just doing nothing to be like, you know what, I actually want to do something. A lot of people that I ask if they're a video game player, they say they just play video games. Most of the people say travel. If I ask if money wasn't a thing, what would you do? A lot of people say, I would just play video games. I would travel. I would whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, like, okay, yeah, that might be what you do, and you might travel around or whatever. But eventually, you would be on one of those mountains, and you'd have that epiphany of what you're supposed to do. A lot of people, what are you supposed to do? What are you here for? Whatever. Of course, everyone wants to see different places or whatever. But if you go everywhere in the world, then what? You know. And if there was a way to do it, people would do it. Go everywhere. Sure. You can go to one country a day, technically. So it would take you less than a year to go to every country. But then some countries are bigger than others. So maybe you want to spend
more time in one country than another.
So,
right? Yeah.
But in 10 years, you could go everywhere. See everything. And we went in 3 weeks. We did the entire bottom of the United States in a minivan.
No, did we go to every single town?
No. But if there was a better transportation, better info system, why does everyone who creates a car that runs on water get killed? You know what I mean? How much cheaper would it be? We could have made it all the way to Seattle.
Oh, easy.
You know what I mean? We wouldn't have to put the parlays down to try to make it there. You know what I mean? We could have just made it there. Gas was fucking $7 and $8. Average of what we say $5 or $4.50.
I would say it's probably more like $5.
$5, yeah. At the end of it, before we got to California, it was lower, but then it was. But once we got, it was like at the end of it.
California definitely skewed the numbers.
You know,
sure.
And then it's like on top.
One of them were like $14 a gallon or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
It was so, bro. You know what I mean? And if we would have went like this year, it would have been cheaper. If we would have went 2 years before that year, we would have been hella cheap to go.
Well, the year Carl and I went.
Oh yeah, it
was like. Average like $2.50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was ridiculous.
So, but imagine you could spend whatever on a gallon of water or whatever, or even solar panels, whatever the stuff is, or even there's a like enterprise expands where you can rent a car or rent a vehicle here, bring it here, and then you can just you can take a bus to here, then you could just get a new one from here to, you don't need one vehicle to get around. You can use all different types. And it doesn't cost crazy amount, because if you use like electric, whatever, there could be a way, we could get to the point where maybe it doesn't cost you $14 for 100 miles. You know what I mean? It maybe cost you $1 for 100 miles.
Facts.
Just about how much does it cost? The gasoline costs more. How much does the water cost? How much can we evaporate? Can we do this? Can we use solar? Can we do this? Can we do the thing where everyone's on like a maglev track? You bring your car on, it goes ding, and everyone goes. You know what I mean? Just like a roller coaster. They have the carts. Everyone can, and it could be from like Dallas to San Antonio to Houston. So you could drive to Dallas. You could do a triangle, ding, ding, ding. Go back to Dallas, and then, or you could go to the top of Texas, go ding, 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 or you can get off and you can go to New Mexico or whatever, right there, and you go ding, 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 and you can go up to Grand Canyon, ding, ding, and then you can go to California, like San Diego, Los Angeles, ding, 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 all the way to San Francisco. There could be different ways, whether it's bullet trains or, whether it's helicopters, whatever the thing is. Now, helicopter plane costs more to run, car costs more to run, but if we were actually innovative and not for the sake of money, we would get to these points.
That's what I was saying. Was with the problem with like transportation earlier with Atlanta and like all the southern states that have like the worst transportation, and like if you go to California, like they've been talking about doing high speed rail for a long time. Like I want to say like 20 years or something.
You could go the whole state.
Oh, for sure, it'd be awesome. Like they'd be able to go from the top of the state to the bottom of the state.
They've been talking about a long time, like New York to Washington D.C. In my mind, they already have that shit. You just don't get. It's not for public use.
It's underground.
Yeah, and exactly.
It's a bullet train. I mean, Elon Musk was talking about like doing underground like trains.
Yeah.
Also.
There's so many. But when the Wright brothers made the plane, I think they were just trying to make a plane that could fly. They weren't trying to make a multi-billion-dollar Boeing industry business.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? That's run by the gasoline companies. You know what I mean? But they're just trying to fly, and they flew. You know what I mean? And then what? Then it goes. Like the people that had the wheel, it was all to help better humanity. Oh, we can use a train. We can bring all this cargo. All we gotta do is load it up, and then we can get all there, and then we can just unload it. You know what I mean? That was help. But now it's like. But now it's to the point where you can't make a water car. You got to buy the gas. And then if the gas is $7, so what? When we all seen it, why is it all of a sudden $7? It could be $2. Like, why? Like, it's not like it got better. It's not like we got the iPhone 14 versus the iPhone 1.
But then, like, also on the other side of things, right? And, like, I know, like, a lot of gas prices has to do with, like, international, like, conflict.
Yeah.
Trade embargoes and all that jazz. But, like, hypothetically, right? America itself has enough gas reserve to be able to stimulate our population.
Yeah.
Right? And so going off of that judgment, if it goes up, how can it come back down? Right? So like if they're saying like last week, I want to say gas was like $3.50, maybe a little less, maybe like $3.19, something like that. Like in the majority of the Atlanta area. I was at a gas station today. It was like $3.85 or something like that.
I mean, location matters because
location definitely matters.
Because the gas station is buying it for whatever the gas price is, and then whatever they're buying it from whoever they got it from, and it's just like if you're buying weed,
right? If the dude gets the line,
if the dude gets the pound for $1,000, let's say $1,600, so it costs him $100 per ounce, then he can sell it for $200 per ounce, and he can make double his money. You know what I'm saying? But if he gets it for $2,000, now he has to sell the ounce for at least $250 to even make half, to make your money back and then half.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then now the person who has it for $250 had to, now that if they sell their grams for $10, then they only make $30, and then it's risk and reward and all that shit. So it's like, so in turn, it's all about how much you're getting it for. Now my argument on the other side is, okay, if the gas is $7 this week, why can't we use the other alternative? Let me use the water this week, or maybe I'll just use the public transportation this week. I don't need to use gas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then people who need to use it still buy whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like making it the sole only, you know what I mean? Now they have electric or whatever, but having it be the sole only way to have a car when there's proven other ways to do it, you know what I mean? Just so you can have a control over this one, you know what I mean? Just like trees, like we you know that you can make hemp, you can make paper out of hemp, you can make all these products out of hemp, and yet we're still just gonna murder a bunch of trees that produce oxygen and all this shit. You know what I mean?
Well, I think recently people have been open to start using hemp.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
paper. But like, yeah, back in like when weed was first legalized.
But they did already. They did make paper out of hemp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At times.
Yeah, like, and then they stopped
Yeah.
because they made weed illegal.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it just started coming back
But
up.
at the end of the
again.
day, like this is, and weed, the reason why they call it weed in the same sense is because weeds just grow. The shit just grows. You know what I mean? But the tree, you can have a new farm, like you can have like a new harvest of at least like probably twice a year. You know, if you do it right, like, and you do it on the money, you can get twice, but most likely just once a year, right? So every year you're gonna get a new set of paper. But if you plant a tree, that shit takes like 20 fucking years, if not more, to grow up and to be a whatever. So we're gonna cut down the 20-year elder instead of the every year we can get this, we can get this, we can get this, we can get this, we can do this, for whatever the reasons might be. But that's just like, as a society, like that doesn't feel like we're helping the growth of humanity at that point. It doesn't feel like we're helping the growth of humanity when you get just one new feature on the iPhone every year and it costs a little more, boom, 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 and then they shut down the old one so that you have to buy the new one. Like, why can't we just get the product that's going to last me 10 years, 15 years?
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like, I don't want to buy a new one until it actually breaks.
You know, that was the point of, that's what cars were like, part of the sell 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago, of like a Lexus or one of these companies that is like, this car will last 20 years. You know, a Honda Odyssey is going to last fucking, 15, 20 years. So you spend the money to buy it because you know you're going to get what you're going to get out of it, as long as you don't unfortunate accident or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if you knew that the Honda Odyssey was going to...
Which, like, the car companies are depending on you to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
But if you know that the Honda Odyssey is going to crap out in 5 years, you might not spend 30 G's on it.
Well, yeah, because that means you're paying $6,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, and it's just about the people just need the information when it comes down to it.
For sure.
Because if you had the information, like, and just like that, like if you had the information that it's impossible for you to buy this house, but it is possible for you to buy this house, and then with that you might be able to get this house because you bought this house and you put the money in here versus a never-ending pit over here. You know what I mean? Then people might do this route. It might that's how you break it up, because there might not be enough for everyone. $1 million, maybe not everyone can have $1 million house, but everyone doesn't live forever. You know what I'm
Definitely
saying?
Not.
So it's like, it's just like a company, like Calvin's job. Like, no one ever leaves apparently or whatever, right? So it's just about waiting for someone to retire. So it's like, then that slot gets filled and it's forever like that. But the system still works. The people at the bottom still work there because it's a good enough job, there's good enough money. They work there, and there's still a path they can get to. And the most dedicated employees eventually get the position.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But that's just hard work and grind. You know what you set out to do. There's companies that they tell you if you work here for 20, 25 years, you get this pension, you get this pension. If you know at the beginning of that company there's a possibility of you getting fired for no reason, you know what I mean? Then you won't do that company versus a company that has to be real reason to fire you. As long as you work and you're productive, you'll be okay. But a company that might not need you at year 18, and they know in 2 years you're going to cost them this much for the rest of your life, they might, find a reason to X you out. And then that's what Enterprise, like when I was interning at Enterprise, it's you come as a management trainee, and all the people are in their management trainees, and then you move to the assistant manager, then you move to the manager, then you move to like the regional manager, and you just move up and up and up and up and up. But no one gets to just sit. Like, you can't just sit as the manager of that enterprise, because all the other kids under you are trying to get to that position, and the assistant manager is trying to get to they basically want to breed within. The way I look at it is, they weed out of the 4 people that are working in the store, they weed out 3 of them, and one of them goes to the assistant manager, and then eventually goes to the manager. And then, but not at that spot, he goes to a new spot, and he manages a new spot. and then he becomes a manager, and then they breed for the next assistant manager there, and he goes to a new spot, and then when that guy's ready, he goes up. But you can't just sit there because someone else is coming. So you could get to year 15 where you get pinned against someone else, and there's no other spot for you or whatever, and they just let you go up 15. But you're trying to make it to 20, 25 to get the whole benefits of the thing.
Right.
And now you're 35, 40. You can't start another 20-year journey. It's going to take you, or you can, but you're planning on retiring at 40. You know, you started at 23. You're trying to retire by 45. You know what I mean? 48. And you retire, but now you're not going to be able to retire until you're 65, 70. You know what I mean? Just like, but now if you put the information in front of the person and go, okay, this company, if you put in 20 years of your life, boom. This company, you put in 20 years of your life, boom. But there's a chance at any moment they could take it away. Most likely people are going to go with the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless they just love renting
then,
cars.
Then it would like force the other company
to change, just like the Walmart perspective of
right,
Target. They would eventually have to change, but not for the right reason, for the wrong reason. So then you have to push what they do back on them. If they take one step forward, you got to push them 2 steps back. If they try to go back to their old ways, you demote them even farther. You know what I mean? There has to be some sort of balance where, like, companies get fined too. If an NBA player says something outlandish or does something whatever, fouls too hard, they get a fine. You know what I mean? These companies need to get fines, and Walmart gets fined $2 billion this year. You know what I mean? For whatever they did. You know what I mean? And that $2 billion goes to the roads of the community. That specific Walmart gets fined $2 million. Everything that's surrounding what needs to be done in that community, the roads, the school, the park, whatever it is, that money goes there. You know what I mean? Facts. And just having incentives for people and all that stuff will help. I definitely think will help build community.
So I had a thought experiment that you feel really confident and wrapped up on this topic. Mm-hmm. I had a thought experiment in my head the other day. If you only, let's say once a day, right? You can only have 100 clicks on your phone. So you can only click your phone 100 times in one day. What would you pick? What would you waste those 100 clicks on? And that includes text messaging.
I would build my playlist first. Or I'll spend some amount of clicks each day building a playlist. That way it only takes 3 to get it going. And you can just have it shuffle for the whole day. Right? And then I would save enough to be able to answer the phone if people called me. And I wouldn't text, I would only call. That'd be it. Make sure I have music. Be able to call. And then, I don't know where you'd get your news. I guess I would, listen to Joe Rogan's podcast. Something, because he talks about news a lot, I guess, or relevant
you could definitely get some YouTube time in there, because you're only probably getting 4 or 5 clicks, or maybe even 4
I would definitely download the app.
Uploaded, right? Yeah.
I would reset my phone, and I would only download the most necessary apps. They're all on one page, so you could just click, and then just have them all there.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you just pick whatever one you need.
Or you definitely would have to give yourself shortcuts.
Yeah.
To start it off, because I feel like the first 2 days of you on your 100-click journey would just be you setting your phone out so that you could really use your phone.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd do. And playlist would be the big one.
Yeah.
One big ass playlist, or maybe create different one with all the music, one with just this music, one with just start with all the music and then start building. That way you don't have to be so locked in, maybe where it's super shuffle, because maybe you just want to listen to the Bob Marley. You know what I mean? So then save all his music into a folder.
I would definitely set up the Hey Siri.
Yeah, but that would just be going.
That'd be a little cheating, right? It'd be a little cheating.
I would just set it up.
Right?
I would accept that my phone is no longer really useful, and I would just set it up for what the main person I would want it anyway for would be to be able to listen to music, look at the internet if I really need to, something is very vital, YouTube, and then call. That's it. I would never text. I would never whatever. I would call. And then I guess I would use the speech to YouTube,
the voice to text,
whatever. Yeah.
Well, that would there's definitely some loopholes around it for sure. But I guess at the end of your 100, it would just you would lock you out for until I guess the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right. Would be like when you first did your first one for the day.
Well, my last 3 clicks would always be setting up the music to be playing. And then just put my phone somewhere. If I don't want to hear it, I just put it somewhere else. But then that'd be it. Now I'll leave like 3 buttons, like 3. That way 3 people could call me.
3 emergency phone calls.
Yeah. Or you could hit answer.
I would definitely. Would you have a password on your phone?
I don't have a password on my phone now.
That's fair.
Because in my mind, I don't have anything to hide really. Now there's some apps I guess you could go into if I lost my phone. You can go into them, but all those ones I would immediately just go online and sign out of all devices or whatever.
Do you have any like personal cards connected to your phone?
No.
Okay, well I do. That's my main reason.
I don't do any of that. All the touch pay. My mind's like, what if someone just walks up with a device to touch your phone, just fucking rob your shit? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm always cash first. I'm always natural. I'm always a natural way. Like, cash is made from material. All that other stuff is just numbers. Just like cryptocurrency, stocks, all that shit is just numbers. It can go up, it can go down. You know what I mean? Your account could say 0. Kanye West had his accounts like locked. At any moment they could just lock your shit up. But if they locked up my account right now, they would lock up the $4,000 I have for the Ravens tickets, whatever other little money I have in there. But all the other, but I still have my cash, so I could still go to, fucking, whatever, Quick Trip or whatever, and I could go get that soda. I could still get it until they stop. And then on that sense, as long as cash still had some function, you could get someone else to using cash to help you out, just like the Cash App thing. But then even the information, like I wish there was an app. I wish there was an app that I'm gonna say it now because I don't really care if someone else makes it, but that you could look up, like it would open. It's called like gas or whatever, just like, and it would show all the within the current 30-mile radius of you, show you all the current prices of gas for each pump. You know what I'm saying? For each person, like Shell at this corner is $3.15, Racetrack over there is $3.14.
I feel like there's already one like this.
There might be, and then all the different, and then you could go. It'd be like, all right, Walmart, and it could be like Waze. So someone's at Walmart and there's like just a white towel. White towel at Walmart is $2. Boom, you type in white towel, it shows Dollar General is $1, and Dollar General is right over there. I can just go over there. But if you had the information, you'd make better choices. You might just go to Quick Trip because it's like it's like 100 feet closer than Racetrack, right? Say Racetrack's on this side of the street and Quick Trip's on this side of the street, and you're on this side, so you just go to Quick Trip. But the Quick Trip soda is $2.50 and the Racetrack soda is only $2. That car ride across the street, or you could park and walk 50 cents a day, you know what I mean? Or let's say $1 a day. You're saving $365 a year by just going across, taking a walk across the street. You know what I mean? Because you know the information. But the information's not like that unless you go find it yourself. So most people will just get the Quick Trip.
I could be wrong, but I think the app you're thinking of is called Honey.
Honey does discounts.
Okay.
It'll be like, you say you go to, you can like look up and it will show you the whatever, or it'll give you like you're at Walmart, like all the discounts for Walmart or whatever.
Okay, so it's slightly different.
Yeah. But that's like
idea.
A lot of it's like the online stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about just like in your community, like that I can go to because on the online stuff you gotta wait, but it's 8:00 at night. I need toilet paper. Who's got the best deal? If I don't have probably Costco. You know what I mean? Because you can get the bulk. But if I'm just trying to get a roll real quick because I need this shit. You know what I mean? I can just look it up, and if they're all in the same radius, it could be like 50 cents or whatever. And if you did that with everything, you just, at the end of the day, it's all about how much money you limit to how much money, time, energy are you wasting. If I get a speeding ticket because I wasn't paying attention, and they weren't trying to set me up, you were just driving fast, and you passed by a cop like a dummy, so you get a speeding ticket. Okay. Now you're paying $100 or whatever. You wasted the time dealing with the cop wherever you're going, got stopped. You wasted the time working because now you just threw this money away. and then you wasted the energy working as well. All that energy, all that time spent, gone. So in the day-to-day life, it's like if I know that it's $5 over here versus $3 over here, I'm gonna go over there because it's $3. Because that $2, I can now eventually we'll have another dollar. Now I can get two of these products, or the 2 for $4. I can get two, just like the Monsters. If you're gonna get a Monster Energy from this gas station, from this gas station, but you know this is 2 for $4, this is 2 for $4.50. You know what I mean? You might just plan to go to that gas station.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then just doing that, but being able to like have it work just like human. It could be the community helps put it in. You drive by, you see the shell. All you gotta do is like the camera could have a thing where you just hit shell on this corner, and you just click the camera, and as you're driving by, you just go ding, and it updates the pricing or whatever, and that way you can just really just make your decision based off whatever it was. But then what it would do is now it would
share the information with the community. I like that idea.
Like there's like Amazon, like if you have an Amazon Prime account, you might get your shit faster, or some shit costs less. You know what I'm saying? But you got to pay for the Prime account.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think there's a value in being able to just like, you want something, you can go get it. You don't gotta wait, even if it's 2 days or 1 day. Like Walmart has this item. Best Buy, we were talking about Best Buy, like the best deal. Like they don't have the best deal.
Worst Buy.
Yeah, exactly. Worst Buy, where you could go to games. You look at, and you can do that with video games. You can go look at all the different consoles. You can go, they're charging this for this, they're doing that for that, they're doing that. Okay, and there we go, whatever. But on the day-to-day stuff like gas, food, you know what I mean? Those things where it's like those little expenses, like you don't remember the $20 you put in gas. Maybe it's on your statement. You know what I mean? But it's like once it's spent, it's spent. You know what I mean? But then, yeah, and then you had so now you had to go drive over here, or you got stuck in traffic. You just spent more gas. You know what I mean? Over and over and over again until little things add up where you either wasted money that you could have now bought that meal that you needed or that thing. You wasted time, which you can't get back, or you wasted your energy where you might be tired at the end of the day now, where you didn't make that song, you didn't do that podcast, you didn't go play with your kids outside, you didn't go work out because you're a little tired because you spent the energy and then it just got wasted. So at the end of the day, for me personally, I've really tried to make sure how do I limit my time wasted scrolling on the phone, just sitting around or, whatever. And then at work, like energy, like how do I make sure I don't exert unwasted energy? Like if you gotta take all your equipment out of the car and bring it to where you're going, you're not gonna take one item at a time.
Definitely not.
You're going to take all, you don't want to waste the energy, time, or you just take it all at once because you can. You know what I mean? So it's like, but if there's too much, you might have to take 2 trips. So you take 2 trips because you have to. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but you spending.
I'm going to try my damnedest not to take 2 trips.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. That's the point. You know what I mean? And that's everything in the littlest, the slightest. That's what I try to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like, what's the point? Like, I don't want to go to this job anyway. You know what I mean? It's not that bad. Like, now, like I don't mind going, you know what I mean? But I don't really, I was telling my friend, I'd rather spend the 40 hours a week or that you spend on a work week all on the music and the podcast or just on Arrival in general. I'd rather do that 100%. I'd rather I'll still work 40 hours a week. I'd just rather do this. You know what I mean? So, but because this isn't bringing in enough money to sustain, you have to go do the other thing. So now it's just balancing that time, energy, all that stuff. There's a reason why I work 3 days a week instead of 4. I might get a little more money if I work 4, but I see how much energy I spend in the extra day and how much it affects the rest of my week. And then what's happening on this side gets diminished. Just for an extra $100. In my mind, I'm like, this diminishment is not worth $150.
It's fair.
Maybe 1,000, 2,000, you know what I mean? But $150, let me just chill over here. You know what I mean? As long as it's enough that I can sustain, So, but I think the biggest what is it? Not infiltrator, but the biggest like antagonist to that thought in my life is probably like I guess just the phone. A lot of people it's just the phone in general, and then sports. I would say, because I probably spent a lot of time like either going to the event or watching it or reading about something. Like even that conversation we had on the porch was all about like sports.
All about sports,
and then like what happened. And, like this person went here, this person went there. That took energy for me to go look at that, or for me to time and whatever. So I would say sports in my life has probably taken. I've probably wasted the most time watching sports, and you could say wasted or not if you enjoyed yourself is not waste.
Right.
But I remember there was one time I really had thought I was watching football this last year, and I was watching the clock like wind down to the 2-minute warning, and I was just like watching my life go, like my seconds go. I was like, the time of the game's running out, but I'm losing each second too, just sitting here. While then the commercials come on, and it's all bullshit. It's a waste of time. You know what I mean? So that's probably in my whole life. I've probably spent the most time like watching sports over my phone, just because I've watched for so long.
Yeah.
The phone's only been here for however long, you know. But nowadays, I think a majority of people probably the iPhone or their smartphone device, you know, or video games. But at the end of the day, like if you enjoy the video game, like, are you wasting your time? You know,
To a
it's all
degree, maybe.
perception, you know. But then you got the people who play video games for a living. They're like, see, Vomit was never a waste of time because I just made. I got all these people watching me stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like at that point in time, like you have to put in like
so much work.
So much work. Like there's plenty of Twitch streamers, right? That like they have to keep, like Jason gave the greatest example.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like you gotta keep giving people what they want. You gotta keep giving people what they want. Because like your stuff gets deleted on Twitch, right? On YouTube, at least your stuff stays.
Yeah.
But still, it's still that fight for like, all right, if you're not posting every day or at least once a week, then you're gonna lose viewers. You're gonna lose
even the podcast thing.
Right.
If we had one podcast a year, it would never.
We would never get.
Even
picked.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan does 3 or 4 a week. You know what I mean? That he's putting out that many. That's how he got. Because even me, like the past couple of days, like I've been looking for. Like last week, I was looking for a new podcast. Like the Joe Rogan ones that came out. Like they didn't. Like because if I watch one, I'm probably gonna watch it all the way through. And so, like, I don't always usually pick, like, a random person. Or I go look at what they are, but, like, you know, there's some things that will, like, interest me, you know. So there's, like, a couple, like, Theo Von, Joe Rogan, I'll go look. And if it's, like, someone that didn't really strike me, like, I'll listen here and there. But, you know, versus, like, you just feel like you're waiting for that. And I'm sure there's people, like, they just want the next one. But it's, like, then I had to debate, okay, do I go listen to ours? But the thing about it, if I listen to ours, like, I'm doing more work because I'm going to be writing down the timestamps for the. It's like I'm waiting till I catch up on this shit, so I'm not like spending all my time editing, watching, and doing the podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's 2 months till my birthday, which means the album has 2 months left, so I need to work on that.
Right.
And I think the past couple of times I've mentioned like how much work I put in on it, whatever, and I want to just reiterate to the people that it's not like it's not work where I feel, but the metaphor is when you're if you're at your job. And so you have to do like 100 things, and you don't do anything for the first 7 hours you're there. Then you gotta do all those 100 things in an hour, or the last 2 hours, and you're just exerting all this energy and whatever. Or at school, if you don't do your homework or whatever, then the end of the year becomes harder. I remember in college, like for me, when the final like mattered, it was like I did worse. But if I did good enough in the year where my grade was an A or a B, then the final didn't matter. So I'm either getting an A or a B. Either know the information enough or not, so the stress is out the window. Now I'm just putting in the work. Let me just read this paper and let me just read this article. Instead of the kid who's like biting his nails because he's in between a C or a B or a D, and if he fails, he has to retake the class. You know what I mean? And because he didn't put in the work all along the way. You know what I mean? So it's like just with the podcast stuff, though it feels like more work because it's been this up ever since the whole year.
Right.
From being behind to putting, so ever since that gauntlet
Christmas
week,
definitely like put a damper on it.
Yeah,
right?
so that whole year, this whole year so far, all of 2024, I've been trying to catch up, and it's been this uphill battle, the whole year. So it's like, now I'm with this one, with this one, and then the one 29, 27, 28, 29 will come out Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which means on Sunday when it's episode 30. I'll be fully caught up and be finally done. Caught up. So now, but also I love this. Like I love it still.
Right.
But what I don't love is spending all my time on it. Like I want to spend my time on the music. I also like doing this. I like playing on the game here. So I like doing a bunch of different things.
Go
So
do photo shoots, go do music
yeah,
videos.
but it's
right?
like, and I try to make a song, and it's like, but I know I have all this other work to do. So it's like I want to just be free of obligation. Where it's just like now it's just like 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week, and then if we do a couple extra, now we have a couple extra in the bank or whatever. You know what I mean? But and the biggest inspiration is getting it to the point where now we record it, and a couple days later it's out. So it's like really where we are now, versus like where we were. And then when it was the Gauntlet, it was coming out every couple of weeks. So it was like just. It was coming out every couple of weeks, but it was one day, and then it started going week. So now like we're almost caught up, and that's why I think the comment was great that Sparky left, because it was like really showing like it is the passion for it, like what we're doing. Like we don't have to do this. Like
Right.
I don't have to edit any of them. We could literally just put out we don't have to have the mic. We could just literally sit in front of a camera and just post that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's all this different. You can make YouTube. You can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? But it's like this is something that we chosen to do, and because I've chosen to do it, I know that there's a way to do it. You have to do it. Like, you know, Jason said last week, like it's bigger than one person.
For sure.
Whether it's me, them two, you know.
I mean, you've done a couple by yourself. I know
yeah,
that
yeah,
for sure.
100%. You know, but now I'm confident to do it by myself. I can, like the first lead, like if I am where I am now, we would have never missed a week. But we had to miss all those weeks, and I had to do that gauntlet to get to where I am now, and then the editing and whatever. We just did the tutorial video, so that'll get me into the point where now when we have the screen and we're referencing, I'll have done the work to be able to not have to spend so much time, and that's my point: spending less, not wasting as much time, and this and that. Like that way, I have more time to go to work, do the music, do the podcast, go do whatever I want to do. All in between, versus like having this like you didn't do any of your homework all year, and the only way you can graduate is if you do all of it, and it's like the last week of school. You know what I mean? I'm just like I've been like in that mode for like all year, and it's like now I feel like once I get past this, like I've graduated, I've done it, I've proven that this shit will continue on. I've proven that, you know, it's only gonna progress. We got ideas coming. There's episodes where the idea is thought of, and by the time it comes out, the idea is there, and it shows real people. Start to finish, like you can do something, there's work to it, you know. So I think that's the balance. Like I don't want people to think that I'm complaining, because it's like why even do it? Like it shouldn't feel like work.
Right.
The only reason why it feels like work is because of the amount
that needs to get done.
Yeah,
right?
the amount that we've let accumulate. Yeah, where it's like even a house, if you cook and clean at the same time, it's just one process. But if you cook and you let it sit,
right.
and then you gotta clean, now it's this whole big. Each one is its own big process. How like what you did to cook with, how long did you let it sit until you're tired of it, and then how big did that accumulate for then how much work you have to do on the back end to get to that point.
Sorry for our audio listeners.
Yeah,
on that one.
hit the mic, and feel it's clean. You know,
it did sound kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Boom.
So, and then there's some, like, the other one I was debating, like, we were setting up and Jason threw me the cord. And I was debating because we were talking about, was it Scott Pilgrim vs. the World? Or we were talking about something like that, and I was debating.
I remember you throwing him the cord, yeah.
Yeah, I was debating if I should keep it in there or not, and I just decided not to, because for the production side, I was like, it just felt like it showed you the back end of what was going on, but like the start of the podcast wasn't then. It was later. So I was like, okay. So I started it then, and I was like, I'll just cut that clip of him throwing me the cord, and it'll be part of the intro. When the intro expands to not just the picture, when it expands to clips of us doing whatever, one of them will be Jason throwing me the cord of us here. Just like simple grab and click and just move to the next thing. And I was like, I'll just do it for that. You know what I mean? So I was like, it won't get lost. It was like, I already had that idea, but that's just one clip. I need at least like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips for it to be like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So that's just and then on the other, like, for the one where it was us that we drew, that we did the drawing for, you know, because the phone didn't record. I brought in, I waited for Bree to send it in the morning, which was funny that I did that because I waited and then she sent the extra additions. So I chose the one, and when I went to go put it in, it was like I needed to crop it still. So I went back in my phone, cropped it, put it back up, and then when I released it, I realized that I grabbed the first one she sent.
Oh,
where
the one I told her that you wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, so the sign's lower. Instead, she made one that goes higher and the colors go higher. It's lower, but for whatever reason, subconsciously, I chose the first one anyway. So I could have done it in the nighttime anyway. But I chose the first one, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do the new one. But when I went back to do the edit or whatever, I don't even know how. I just did the wrong one.
Facts.
Or the right one, and I put that one up. So that's the one that got up there. And then I was waiting on Calvin to send the intro. He never sent it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to just not have an intro or whatever. So I just edited the, not half, like, it was a decent drawing, but not the best drawing in the world. Could be better.
Right.
Just edited that on the phone and, like, made it, like a painting and, like, had it, like, swirl or whatever. And Jason didn't really like it because you couldn't really see ocean. Like, you can see ocean waves and the stars, but it's, like, harder to see. So I used that for, like, 3 or 4 of them. And then Jason edited it. And at first I didn't like it. But I was like, okay, I like it. And all it is, it like amplifies the ocean waves part. And then the presented by Oceans on Arrival is amplified. So I'm going to use that one because that's the second edition. And then when Calvin's done with his, then we'll use his. That'll be the third edition. And it'll show. And I was like, I really want to show throughout our time the layers of just like our music. Like it's not only the best songs out that we thought were the best songs.
Right.
You go back to Oceans on Arrival, you have Jason from the beginning all the way and me all the way till now, where it's like all the songs came out pretty much. I'm sure there's a few that never made it out, but
there's a few in the vault, I'm sure.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
but most of the majority of songs you can go back and listen to The Arrival, and if you go on SoundCloud, you can go listen to Spiritual Evolution, Jason's like first mixtape.
Right.
And then he also had where he put out a song every day of April. It was like the calendar. So you can go back to that time. You could go to The Arrival. You could go to Nature. You could go to One King. You could go to all the sea collection everywhere from the tide and down. You know, the water, the deep, the land, and the shore. You go through there. That's 2020. And then you have the other Jason solo albums or whatever. And then you have my album. And you can literally go down the line of all of time. Of just like Russ. You can go back to Russ's catalog. You can go listen to his 11 mixtapes that he put out. Up until There's Really a Wolf, you know, all the way down. So it's like you can see that we didn't just pop out of nowhere on like Lil Nas X. Like all of a sudden, this man just there, right? It's like this is everything that we did. So just as part of Oceans on Arrival, you know, an extension, Ocean Waves. It's the same thing. I want to show the people the progression of where we started to where, you know, and eventually when we have the different camera angles and we have the Jamie to our Joe Rogan show where we talked about that what was it, the experiment or whatever with the buttons and the people, remember, like group A, group B.
Oh yeah.
Someone would have been able to my phone's dead charging over there, your phone's using it for the camera, so there's no one to look it up, but we could have looked at
it was like, yo,
and
Jamie,
I was like, looking for that comment that Sparky wrote, it could have been pulled up. We could have, you know. So once we had that, it would be even better and better and better and better. If you watch Joe Rogan from before, it was like they're in a line and they're like cameras like facing out. But now he's sitting all the different angles. It's just evolution, you know. So that's why I was like, but I don't want to just show the finished product because it's always a finished product. It's always a product. It just keeps going. Really, because of Calvin's point where he said it's never done.
Yeah, I mean, there is no such thing as a 2-day project or whatever. What's the saying? I think that might be there's no such thing as a 2-day job. Like, you have a 1-day job, you know what I'm saying? You do it, you get it done. Whatever you did in that 1 day, it is what it is. Yeah. But if you go on, it's like you pick it up from that first day and like, okay, well, it's not done, then it's never going to be done. Right? Yeah.
And you're always going to work on it.
You're always going to continue to build.
Just like the house.
Yeah.
You always work on the house.
Not everyone will work on the house, though.
Yeah. But not everyone will always work on
No one's always going to work on the house.
Yeah. Some people might do absolutely nothing.
That's why I say there's no such thing as a 2-day.
But you had the
2-day job, but there is such thing as a 1-day job.
But at least you have the option. That's a blessing.
Right.
You have an option to take it upon yourself to do whatever, you know. So eventually, you know, we'll have more people will listen. We'll get even better, you know. better than we already are at whatever you would call this art, I guess, right?
Right.
And in that, and then the music and everything.
Videography.
Yeah, So it's definitely anyone who wants to. It's definitely not work, but I make it work.
Not work, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, that was a bar. But yeah, so shout out Sparky. We're definitely passionate. We appreciate the insight, the reflection of that.
What was the comment we asked him to say earlier? In the beginning.
525,006 million minutes. Whatever. Could you know what that song is off rip?
Well, that was like from a different one though. That was, like, what was it was based off of that? But like, what was the actual question?
Oh, I don't remember.
I lost it.
I thought it was that. I thought it was, do you know how many minutes are in a year? Like.
Oh yeah, it's like maybe it was. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that was it. Do you know the number?
Like, what is the actual number?
Yeah, so, it's only gonna get more up from here, better, and yeah, and that's how I hope the whole world. It's only gonna get better. Those rates will go down. People will have more ownership. People will want to work on their house because they'll feel like it's theirs. There's a goal to get to. There's a way that we can get there.
I mean, I would definitely say at my apartment, if something broke, 90% of the time it was somebody at our house fixing it. It wasn't. We weren't calling maintenance.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like they wouldn't even come half the time.
Yeah. All of us. The studio.
Right.
The studio. I put like hours into building the studio. Jason might have used it more than I did. But I put in the hours just because I was like, this needs to happen. I know it does. So I did it. I mean, that's all. That's everything. Like, I know that the podcasts need to come out. They can't just sit around. It needs to happen. I'll do it. Boom. So it's just like, but then I know that if I spend all my time on the podcast and how much time, energy I have left for the music is very low. So I would need to find the balance where the podcast doesn't interfere with the music doesn't interfere with the love, everything that's happening around, and then everything happening around doesn't interfere with everything else. And and then when I can go to work happy knowing that I'm here to make the money so I can go back, so I have the next 4 days to do it all again, and try my best not to have to come back in here. Get to choose if I want to come back in here, have the choice,
right?
Not have it be the only option.
That's the goal. That's the goal for sure.
Yeah. And everyone's got a different.
Blow us up, guys. Blow us up.
Yeah. Stream the music, buy the music, honestly. But there's also some more things we had to do for it to be like that. Like, we need the link tree set up still.
Right.
We need to be more engaged with the music videos. Not that they're very important, but just a couple, more pieces of content to be out there. The social media here and there. Like, I don't like whatever Bree does with it, whatever. But, in some aspects, it needs to be like, I don't feel like we're at the exact point yet where it's like I can understand why maybe we haven't blown up yet. What I mean? Maybe there's a couple still loose ends to tie the knot. That way it's like you don't get that half court shot, opportunity, but you never practiced or you never held the basketball. But if you held the basketball a bunch of times, when the half court shot comes, we gonna hit that shit.
Facts.
And then from there it's up. And that. So for now, I'm just trying to make a couple more great songs. That's it. A couple more great songs this week. Finish the podcast, catching up. That way, we're live. Almost live. So
get a DJ Gillis update.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that too. That's part of I gotta do that this week. And that's what's funny because Jason said last night he's like, we should do this live. And then today, or like last night at 4:30, I just get a text saying like we should edit some of the last podcast out. And I was like, okay, which parts? And he told me which parts, and I was like, okay, that's cool with me. But I was just like, so we're not ready to be live because less than a week later, you're already thinking about changing some things.
What parts was he trying to?
I'm not gonna say it on here now. I'll tell you after. But
heard.
Yeah, so it's just like, so obviously we're not ready to be live yet because we can't even go a week without being like, whoa, it needs to, just a little, nothing crazy.
Last week when Jason was saying something, I was like, yo, maybe we should edit that out. You're like, nah.
Yeah, exactly. So I gotta go back in and do those, whatever the couple things were. So, and they weren't even really bad, but it's just
No, they
about
weren't.
the state of the world right now. Like, you really don't want to be clipped. Like, you want to be canceled before you even got there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's not even. I think it's
someone just clips
better
like the
metaphor,
one sentence from the podcast, right, and throws it in there.
The better metaphor is that it could have clicked too many red flags, like on people's personal radar. And the goal is not to have any red flags, just to have people like ingest the knowledge, whether they agree or disagree. You know what I mean? But you don't want to like say a word and then it's like they don't listen to anything because you said that one word. They put you in this box because they associate all the people, all the Kanye, they're all like yay, or you know, they're all Trump people, or they're all this person, or they're all that person. You know what I mean? You don't want to get grouped up into that because then they put like a perceived thought about who you are or what you are, and then you have to. It's hard to break that, and then they'll start spreading it to other people like that too, right? Where it's like he's like for Kanye or Ye, it was like he was anti-Semitic or whatever, right? Or Kyrie.
Yeah,
because Kyrie posted, all he did was post a link to a movie you could buy on Amazon, and he didn't say if he liked it or if he didn't like it or what it was, whatever. All he did was link it, and then they just connected him like, oh, he's whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like he's just showing you can buy this shit on Amazon. If you're that mad about it, why are you not mad at Amazon for selling it? Why are you mad at Kyrie for showing people that it's there?
Right.
You know? All he's doing is showing you the door. What's behind it, you can be mad about it or not, but he's not the one who's behind the door. He's just showing you there.
Right, yeah.
You know, so you don't want to be grouped up, but
I don't know. I feel like people just focus on too many like big things and then like don't focus on some big things and focus on too many small things and don't focus on some small things.
Yeah.
And like, you know, it could be relative to a lot of different situations.
Everyone's got a different situation that they're going through or whatever. But there are a lot of things that we all can relate on, you know. So I think it's about that balance of individualism and togetherness, you know.
So. Love one another.
If you don't know who Bob Marley is, I suggest you listen to him. If you don't know who Oceans on Arrival are, I suggest you listen to him.
If you don't know what Ocean Waves podcast is, I suggest you go listen to them.
Yeah.
They got some truth.
For sure. That's also at this point now where it's like we're getting far enough away where there's less and less people that are going to have watched like every single one.
Oh, I haven't watched all of them anymore.
You know, I will eventually.
Eventually,
but, you know what I mean? But no, but just in general. Like, because when you only have 5, you know, it's easier to get someone to go, just watch the first one first.
Right.
But if it's at 30, 40, 50, they might just watch the most current one. And if they like it, they might go back to whatever one. If they go look at the topics, which one might interest them.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Or whichever one has more comments. That's really what it would be. Like or once we go back and I write the timestamps of the clips, and we put on Instagram a clip of like us laughing about whatever earlier, or
about the binoculars.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When then people are gonna you link, okay, that was episode 12 or whatever, and then people link that, and now they go watch 12 because of that. That's how. Okay, let me retract what I said about the Joe Rogan thing. When I look at the podcast, usually I don't, unless I know them or whatever. If I don't really know them, I don't really go click on the new ones. Or like a scientist, like I don't really like. I feel like I just don't want to spend my time at the moment listening to that. Like I like listening to comedians and, you know, some people or whatever. But then if I'm on Instagram and they get me with a clip of something they're talking about, then I'll go look at like what shirt was he wearing, or I'll go look in the comments trying to find out who it was. And when I get out of who it was, boom, then I'll go and I'll add it to my list and I'll go listen to it whenever it's time. So it's like, so usually that's how I'll get, which is why I have the idea of we should do the clip thing, because that's how some of my, when I go to the podcast, and I don't go to the podcast and go just look at for that clip. I just watch the whole podcast.
Right. Because
you'll get there and I'll be like, oh, this is the clip part. But then you've been led up to how did it even get to that part. And you know the before, beginning, and after of the conversation.
Get the whole story.
Yeah, so that's why I definitely think so. But that's also part of the reason why I haven't gone back, because I know it's more work for me. I have to physically write down those timestamps for when the time comes, you know. So once I'm done editing, I'll get to that, and we'll do that. But every time I run out of like a podcast to watch, I'll usually be like, is it time? Is it time to just start ours? You know. But
I have a couple podcasts that I'm watching right now. I've been watching. Are we sharing other podcast names?
sure.
And like, I don't know if I necessarily want to shout this one out though.
Then don't shout it out.
Okay. Well, I've been watching, and like people will probably be able to understand what it is just by me describing it. It's like a dating podcast, like the big popular dating podcast, and they'll bring on like.
I think you talked about this before.
On here.
I don't know.
I don't think I talked about the name on here, but they'll bring on like OnlyFans girls and like transgender people and big Christian conservatives and like there's like a very like variety of thoughts, you know what I'm saying, experiences and lives, right? And so like I just find it interesting because like the main premise of the podcast is dating, so they talk about like the common dating scene in America right now, right? And it's interesting because they'll dive off of dating and talk about like is it morally right or wrong to do certain things, X, Y, and Z. So I find it interesting to see all these people's different perspectives, and I find myself, you know, somewhere in the middle, maybe like a little further conservative leaning, I guess, but it would be interesting because like you'll see like some like preconceptions that people have in their head that you wouldn't even think was fathomable.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm trying to think of like a specific example in my head right now.
I think a lot of those things are just to trigger people online.
Yeah, if you
like,
think
against
so? You
each
think
other.
they're playing like a ploy?
Yeah, because they want you to get in the comment. They want you to be like, "What the fuck is that?" And then someone's like, "No, that's their choice to say that." No. And then you just have these two people, right? And then you got 3 bots like saying like disrespectful shit to the other person to piss them off. And you got this big war in the comment section over like, oh, I can't believe she would do that, or oh, like no way, or like oh, like what's her at? You know?
Right, this is some foul shit. Well, the funniest part about it is like they'll have like talk to speech like interruptions in there, like the comment section can give.
Facts.
They donate X amount of dollars. Right? And like it'll like sometimes like the comments will like just like rip into like some of these, like
people get into it, but you pay to get that comment in there, right?
Right. Like calling them like some of the foulest things, like demons and like like I'm being very polite with the words I'm using, like whores and like sluts, like.
Well, because I'm sure there's gonna be passionate people on both sides. There's gonna be passionate people who are like yeah, say whatever you want and like whatever you do, and then there's gonna be people who are like get this shit off the internet. You know what I mean? Like this is not good for kids or whatever. There's gonna be like both sides where it's like express yourself and then like. What the hell is this? What the hell? That one is like, what the hell even is that? Or what the hell is even that? Like that video is fucking hilarious. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like now, like the society is so much in this like short attention span, clips or whatever. So that whole podcast is to get a clip.
Right.
Wow. For me, I'm trying to get a clip so you can watch the whole podcast. Not vice versa. They make this whole podcast so you can get a clip on Instagram that gets like 1 million likes or whatever, and then it has people talking about it.
Well, see, like I also like, I feel because like I saw the clip first, and that's why I went and watched the whole podcast.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's what I'm bringing it up for. It's like because I feel like it really does give you an interest, and like, it's definitely trying to get you on the clickbait a little bit, and like trying to get you in on the whole.
Well, they definitely at the end of the day they want you to view their.
It's a drama.
They want you to be
it's definitely
a
very dramatic podcast.
That's a good way to drama.
It's
podcast.
like a drama podcast, yeah. But like I enjoy it in the sense of like you have a lot of different perspectives, and I feel like most people on there are being genuine. Some people, you know, they're only there to try to sell what their
Some people are capping.
Right?
You're gonna get people who are genuine, you know.
Yeah. But
honestly, the only ones I see of those are usually like the sex. I don't know why, dude. I don't know why I get so many sexual shit on Instagram.
Because it's designed to be like that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's not like
Instagram,
I don't even click on it either. Except for I guess you had to click on one. I've had to click on.
No, because I mean like you ads. Yeah. I'll see ads for like women's underwear and bras and stuff like that. It's like I'm not dating anyone.
But if you
I'm
click
a single
one,
man, right?
if you click one like alligator eats rabbit video, you're gonna get a shit ton of alligator eating shit videos. You know what I mean? So if you click on one, like one of those, then you're gonna get like so many of them where they're talking about like something sexual, whatever it is, or whatever.
Well, because they're trying to push an agenda on you. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like, especially like, you can't go anywhere now without seeing some type of sexualization, right?
Yeah.
And like, you can go, you walk down the mall, you see a whole bunch of pictures of women's trying on bra and panties, and like, I personally, I don't have anything objective. I don't see anything objectively wrong with that, but someone who's like 13, they see some like this woman, right? As a teenage boy myself, I'm not saying that like I would pleasure myself or anything like that to it, but like I would definitely be like, ooh, like she looks hot.
There's some kid out there who's going to.
Mate, you're probably right, but it wasn't me. But I would definitely be like, oh, she was fucking hot. Like she's hot. So like, there's definitely some type of sexualization that is a general outforce.
So whatever that stimulus, like porn, whatever that stimulus is that like porn is attracted to, where it's like whatever that thing is where that you even go to watch porn to begin with.
Like the gore, like I guess like
whatever
the
that thing and whatever that what is the word?
It's like like in your head.
Yeah, whatever that trigger is, like that electrical impulse.
Yeah, a synapse or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, a synapse is what connects the impulses, right?
Well, I think I feel like if you watch more porn, your mind becomes more like you might think of that sexual joke faster than someone who doesn't watch porn. You know what I mean? Like your mind is kind of like if you see a hot girl, instead of it just being like, oh, there's a girl, you might like attribute something sexual to them faster than. I just feel like if you watch, I feel like porn amplifies that. Like
I could agree
almost
with that,
like
for sure.
If you like see a drawing, like, oh, what does that look like?
Right, it's like
and not like when you're like 13.
It looks like a dick,
because you know when you're 15 or whatever, people having their home like everything's funny. It's like, oh, look at this dick, like he drew a dick, you know what I mean? But then it's like, oh, like you just see like a cloud, you're like, oh, like, someone could be like, you know, it looks like a spaceship, and someone's like, oh, that looks like a dick, you know what I mean? Whatever, how fast you get there. I just feel like porn amplifies that for whatever reason, because you just get this like almost unrealistic side of sexual activity, right? Or expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
But yeah, dude. Passion.
Right. Lust.
Yeah. I think we need more rejoicing. Rejoicing in the natural way. But I don't know. 10 clicks. Are you using one of those 100 clicks to go watch the podcast?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
How many people are gonna use all 100 clicks on Tinder or some shit?
Oh man.
Or Pornhub, dude. Imagine you're on Pornhub and you're trying to find that right video, and you end up using all your clicks and you can't watch at the end.
Dude, that'd be awful. You use your last, like you finally find the right one. You use your last click to hit play. Yeah. And then it just dies out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it just dies
and it's just stuck there, so next time you open your phone, it's gonna be that porn site.
You're at a business meeting. You're
That'd be geek, bro. 100 clicks, that's crazy. I don't know if it's still a thing, but I think Elon started a thing on Twitter where it's like you only can see 250 tweets a day. Or some shit. It happened. I don't think it's still now because I haven't heard that many people talk about it. But I remember he did it for a little, like when he was first like
you
trying.
Have 250 a day.
Like you only see 250.
What?
Yeah. So imagine if 175 of those are put in front of you. You can't go like find the ones you want to find and shit. But I don't think he continued that, at least to my knowledge. But that would be nuts, dude. 100
Imagine
clicks.
like an Amber Alert goes off on your phone. Because like imagine, I would imagine the click to turn it on would also count.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, right? If you clicked any button
on it, right? You want to turn the volume up?
Yeah. I was thinking
turn it all the way up.
I was thinking a tap counts too.
A tap, yeah. A tap counts as a click. Yep. Because like I feel like an Amber Alert, you'd have to turn off the Amber Alert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people's first reaction
I do,
is to silence it, right?
Because it's so fucking annoying.
You silence it and then you turn it off. So that's 2 clicks right there, right? So you'd have to.
Bro, you think by now they would Amber Alerts would be good enough where they would show you what the car is? They're like a fucking black Honda, fucking CRV, blah blah blah, and some dude has no idea what the fuck it like or some.
You know what's crazy that in my head, that's what an Amber Alert car sounds like. The black Honda CRV. It's always the Honda CRV, yeah, bro.
Either way, it's like if now a lot of people do know cars, but there's a lot of people who have no idea what you couldn't tell what car is from what. You know what I mean? Let alone, okay, a brand, but then the actual vehicle. So it's like, you're just going to put fucking the words. Like, don't we have a good enough thing where it would pop up like, this is what the car fucking looks like?
Right.
So it's like, oh, I got to just look for that car. I don't got to look at, like, it's a Toyota and you got to, like, look, like, right behind it trying to find a little writing on the car.
Yeah, it's either a CR-V or a Honda, a Toyota Camry. One of the two. Red Toyota Camry, black CR-V.
I don't know what the percentages of it, like, just like it's like the dad or whatever just taking his kids, and then the mom calls like that they got whatever, you know.
I don't know.
Because a lot of times it's like the way, like, there should be different levels to Amber Alert. Like, if it's like a piercing alert, that means like some fuck shit just happened,
Right.
like near you, and then if it's like a lower, then it's like some fuck shit just happened, but it's a like. Within
it's
this,
in your area, but like
not near
big,
you.
right? Yeah.
And then if it's like, okay, it's really just like a father-mother dispute, then it's a different alert. You know what I mean? So you're not just like, so you can kind of like, you know what I mean? Because it could just be like us versus like if a dude pulls up in a white van and snatches the kid, versus like a dad and mom having a disagreement. The dad is like, no, I'm gonna see my kid or whatever, and the mom could be crazy, the dad could be crazy, whatever it might be. You know what I mean? But either way, like, the way the system is, it's not like it's a sound system. You know what I mean?
No, definitely
so
not.
If the system was sound, then okay, different. But it's not a sound system. You got people paying child support that none of the money sees the child. You know, if a woman just like calls in a domestic dispute, it like fucks everything up. You know, because there's like, they'll investigate everything, and then they don't believe the woman and all this shit. Like, the worst you can do is like, unless it's really happening to you, like if you're really getting beat up or whatever, then definitely like seek help or whatever. But if you just like, if he didn't hit you or whatever and you just say it, it's gonna fuck so much shit up. You know what I mean? And that's one of the worst allegations to get in this day and age. You know what I mean? Like, even murder isn't even
it's even bad. Worse for the kid. You know what I'm saying? Because the kid's like just up until you're 18 years old. I mean, like, you can make arguments for like 15, 16, 17, right? But like, still, like, up until you're 18 years old, you're at the mercy of your parents.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? And I hope everyone out there has great parents. Unfortunately, not everyone out there has great parents, you know.
Well, you were even talking about your friend, right? Like, the person you know.
Which one?
Just like that have like the dispute with, about a child and stuff. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just an unfair situation.
Yeah, it is an unfair situation.
You know,
and it's not really much as a guy in that situation. If you would say, like, you know, you're gonna have a kid with this woman, right? And the woman leaves you and decides to have an abortion. You have no choice as a guy.
Yeah.
Whether or not if she can attain that abortion or not.
Then even just like.
Or if she wants to keep the kid, right?
Yeah.
And she can just choose to not have you be a parent.
Yeah. Just most of the time, the government's not going to take the child away from the mother.
Yeah.
Unless you have like real proof that the mother is like unfit. But like behind closed doors on some like Johnny Depp, Amber Heard shit, you know, behind closed doors they could be like this, but then in front they can act like, oh, I'm like this. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many people like that where it's like real deep down, you know, they're just a fucking bitch or they're a fucking asshole, douchebag, whatever. But then when you're around everyone else, everyone like thinks that, oh, they're such a great person or whatever. They're likable to the crowd.
Right.
But when you actually know them, you're like, oh my fucking God, I just want to, you know. But you can't do anything about it because half the people don't believe you. You know what I mean? Because they haven't seen that side. You know.
Not for sure.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the main thing is, you know, you do focus on being kind to others. You focus on doing the tasks that you feel like you're meant to do in the world. And if you don't know what that is, you know, take time to go find what that is for yourself.
Yeah, the universe isn't cruel. It won't never reveal to you.
You'll know eventually, for sure.
Ask the right questions. Put yourself in the right position.
Sometimes you might even know or think you know it and find out it's something else.
Yeah.
So you have to always stay open to new ideas.
Definitely.
And I feel like that's my main moral that I live by, at least right now. You know, I'm still searching. You know, always keep learning, always keep willing to change your belief, I feel like.
Yeah.
But never do it without evidence.
Everyone's
like with the song, right? It's like you can feel like the song, or you might know you might feel like there's 600,700 hour minutes in a year, right? But if you look up the information and it's X, Y, and Z, and it all points to it's whatever the actual number is, right? Then you have to admit it, right? You have to admit it's true. Well, the evidence points to that.
As long as the evidence is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was like, all the evidence points to it.
If there's
right?
no doubt about it, like you can't. Yeah. Agreed.
It's like if I throw this apple in the sky, something has to come and interfere it to keep it from hitting onto the ground.
Yeah, because gravity will pull it down.
Evidence
Unless
points.
gravity is a scientifically controlled.
The government controls gravity.
We can actually all float, but they tell us we can't. By subliminal messages when we're young. Yeah. But it comes down to, I think, that passion.
Well, if you really want to break it down, we are floating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because atoms can't touch, so therefore there's a slight separation in between our feet and the ground.
Everyone's passionate about something, and I think that's how, like, there's going to be people who are passionate about food and cooking, so that's why there's always going to be a chef. There's going to be people who are passionate about the environment and growing the food. There's always going to be a farmer. There's going to be passionate about people who are want to help other people. There's always going to be like a singer, an entertainer. Well,
I feel like there won't always be it, but there will always be people who want to pursue those jobs, because if you make it virtually hard or impossible to do it,
Oh no, I'm saying like in the world, like if you say like, oh no, like basically to the point of if everyone didn't go to work tomorrow,
right,
there's gonna be people who are naturally healers that are gonna be in the healing side, the Dr. Sebis of the world. There's gonna be people who are naturally like to cook for other people. They're gonna be that. Then people who are naturally just like to be motherly and fatherly figures. They're gonna be the parenting people, the teachers. Boom, they're gonna always be there. And if everyone can just get compensated in enough where everyone has what they need, eventually we'll get to that point. It might take time, like you said. People might just play video games or go travel, but eventually they're gonna get bored of sitting in that chair because people still they play video games, but they still want to go to Jamaica, right? You're gonna be people who are gonna be traveling. They're gonna get to that mountaintop and they're gonna have that that epiphany. Eventually, you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna finally align yourself, and then the goal would be the school system would to be teach kids how to be themselves, how to give them all the different. There can be like I had a thought, like you could have like the music studio there, you could have the digital studio there, you could have the sports going on outside, you could have an acting doing a performance, you could have people filming the movie, you could have, and then the whole school is built around, at the end of the year we all watch the class of 2014's movie. Anyone who was a part of the movie, to the filming, to the whatever, and then this is the class of 2015's movie, and this is their Broadway show, or this is their or musical performance. This is the talent show over here. This is the culinary. Boom, you can test out how to do all these different things. There's a mechanic place for the cars, for the engineering, the building. There's a place where you can go and try all these things. Not like you're sent to these boxes where they want you to work they want you to be prepared to work a 9 to 5, sit still, ask to go to the restroom, only have 30 minutes of lunch and recess. You know what I mean? Those things. So that when we go, now you're okay with working at the desk job for 8 hours a day, getting an hour lunch, making a whatever wage. Versus like by the time you're in high school, it's not like you're going to college and you're like I have no idea what I want to do. It's like you're at that point where it's like I don't know, it's between this and and you're at that stage. Not where it's like it feels like as our lifespans have grown, like the age where we do things has taken longer.
Right.
Like when there was only like a 50 or 40 year, 30 year lifespan, like when people were 12, they're already considered like a man, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever.
In the fields,
yeah, they're built up. Now there's a balance of both. Like let the kid be a child, but also don't let him grow into the man or woman he's supposed to be. Don't hinder him or push him into this thing where now you spent years in college, you realize maybe you don't want to be a lawyer or doctor, but you've already spent all this time.
Right.
What are you going to do? Throw away all that money and all that time and all that energy? You're going to whatever. And then for the people during COVID, when they got presented with the vaccine question, it's like, what are you going to throw everything you away for the vaccine or take the vaccine? So it's tough to be in that position where there's not many lateral movements or, you didn't get the chance where it's like, all right, well, if you're not gonna let me do that, I'm just gonna do this then. You know what I mean? But there's not that school, because then the school debt piles up. You got to pay your rent, all that shit. Boom, boom. Next thing you know, you literally have to work in order to survive.
Facts.
You know? So versus like, basically like, people should be working to live, not living to work. You know? You should put in work, put in effort, whatever, and you get a reward, and you get to live with that reward. Versus like, you're on this earth to be a Walmart employee. You're destined to drive Amazon.
I mean, like, I feel like to a certain degree, right? I feel like we are a species of service, right? And what I mean by that is like, not like, I don't mean like, you know, you go to the restaurant, the server brings you all your food and your menu and you tip her, right? I mean, like, everybody here, any job technically is a service job, right? Even if you're the CEO of a company, right? It's still a service job because you're providing a service to the people, whoever it is, right? And like, I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of people don't realize that their job, everyone works a service job. It's just different industries of service.
What are you serving? You know,
I mean, if you're in a restaurant, you're serving food, right?
Yeah.
If you're in,
but you're serving food to people,
right?
You know what I mean, if you're one of those people who goes and finds the foreclosed houses for the big company,
right?
You're serving the company. You know what I mean?
No,
and
sure.
that's where you are right. Everything's a service job, but then what are we serving? You know what I mean? Are you serving humanity?
Right.
Are you serving love, peace? Are you serving money, power? You know, financial growth.
I'll give an example, right? And like, this is something that and like, kind of, it's an example of like being the service for the company, not the people, right? Somebody called me the other day. I'm not gonna say who it was because honestly, I'm not too fond of this person, but he offered me a job, and like, you know, I'm not a person that like burns bridges or anything like that. So like, I heard him out, and the job was you know, basically he wanted me to help him foreclose houses, right? Or like evict people, right? And like, me personally, I don't know if there's an amount of money that you could pay me to go into someone's house and pull them out of their livelihood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially not 15 an hour, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. You can't catch me dead. Like, I don't know what the price would be. I think it's a necessary job to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, because even if you give somebody a house, right, they still have to be able to upkeep it.
Yeah.
Right? You have to pay the bills to keep it, keep the lights on. It's part of the agreement, right?
Yeah. You know you got to put in the work.
Right.
Otherwise, you go to the $30,000 place. You
right.
know what I mean? Whatever. There should always be levels to it. Like, whatever. If you want to be, like, if you don't want to pay any, whatever, you want to be, like, there's a little homeless shelter here. There's some cots here. You can, you know, if you want to do that. But, you know what I mean? But there's always an option. You know, just based on whatever means you want. If you want to work this much, you can get this much. If you want to work this much, you can get this much. If you want to do this much, you can do this much. And then what are we working for? Not to make Walmart the global conglomerate, but whatever it is, whether it's to give the community food, whether it's to help build the roads, whether it's to help build innovation for travel and technology and whatever it is, all the different, whether it's entertainment, art, music, movies.
Yeah, I don't know. But with that being said, right, like, I just don't know if I could physically kick someone out for an X amount of money. Even if you gave me like $100 an hour, I don't know if I could do that.
No, that's a tough.
Some
people would.
Some people probably would, and I even recognize the fact. But
would they do it without for not money?
Definitely wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't.
You know, exactly.
I know I wouldn't do it.
So then it's just about how much money does it take for you to get to that point.
It's like, what's your asking price?
Like $1 million a year, you got to work 4 days a week evicting people.
And then at that point, it's like, does it affect your soul, right? It's like
100%.
Yeah, it's like you're selling your soul for this amount of money, right?
And to the point where you've affected your soul enough where you don't care, and then you get to the top of the whatever. Your soul is left.
Apathy.
Your soul has decided to abandon you as its
top of the chain of apathy, right?
So you know what? Maybe we don't want to be this form anymore. We're just gonna.
Right.
isolate ourselves into eternity over here, and then you wait until your body runs out or whatever. But yeah, passion, love, aligning yourself with who you are and what you want to do, creating community, building the community,
Right.
taking pride in ownership. And
I got a comment
Okay.
or a question, or leave this in the comments, right? Answer this question.
Little
in the
leave off
comments,
question.
right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to follow the J. Cole method, right? You're saying like giving your taxes.
Being able to choose your taxes.
What would
yeah.
you choose? Leave those down in the comments. What would be the places you'd want to choose your taxes?
Okay, let's say your taxes are $2,000. Let's say that.
All right, $2,000 to invest in whatever you want, any system, right? Roads,
Currently,
buildings, public figures, right?
I would spend all $2,000 on public transportation
Yeah, I think I'd probably
this
do
year
like 50.
because I don't really notice too many roads that are too messed up around me at the moment.
285 is always a mess. But
Yeah, we need it. Yeah, transportation. I would definitely do
Yeah.
This year, I do transportation. In the next few years, the kids are gonna be older. Maybe jump into some schooling. You know what I mean? But for this year, I would definitely say transportation would be mine.
2,000 in transportation. Then.
Transportation or clean water line, like to help. I don't know if that's part of taxes, but to get everyone clean
Well,
water.
yeah, for sure. Because I mean, like, it would be like
So clean water goes before transportation, but or maybe 1,000 in each.
I was thinking like 1,000
Yeah.
in transportation myself, and then I would say like maybe like 500 in wildlife, like national parks and stuff like that, and then I'd probably do the rest of the 500 and like just like homeless shelter causes and stuff.
Bet it
like
on the
that.
Phillies doing
500 Phillies win the World Series 2024, baby. 2024.
Let's see.
They haven't won the last while. 2008, the last time they won.
Yeah.
2008.
Blue Jays is like fucking 93 or some shit. I wasn't even born.
So it hasn't been quite 20 years yet. I hope it doesn't get the 20 years.
Oh yeah, it's pretty close. Still got a whole other 4-year segment to go. Another presidency to run. See what happens.
We'll know who's running for the 2028 by the time the Phillies win their next World Series.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. After the NFL thing, I'm like, sports for me, I'm kind of like, God damn it. Let the NFL get me. Now I'm like, very hesitant to jump back into sports. I like college basketball here and there because it's like, you see these like young kids in their dreams and like some get crushed and some are like, that's dope. But now college is getting more into where like people are getting money.
Yeah, I know.
So it's gonna lose out. You're gonna lose out on that because people are they're almost getting shortchanged. Like, we'll give you this much money now, you know, and it might stunt their growth, where they could make this much money at the end, but it takes them another 5 years to get there.
I'm gonna say like it kind of like makes you think about life, right? The game life, right? So you can take the college route, right, or you could take the normal route, and I feel like at that point they've almost breaking the college route into subsections.
Yeah,
it's like you have the normal college route and you have the college
yeah.
route, and like these kids who are getting the subsidies are taking like the normal college route, right?
Yeah,
and trying to get money now, and these guys who are like, I guess, not taking these subsidies, right? They're focused on like NBA, NFL, MLB, right? Don't take the subsidies, and that they're focused on like the college later, right? Or like money later. Almost like if you go to college, right? In a game of life, you're almost guaranteed to win.
Yeah.
If the person you're playing didn't go to college.
True.
Almost guaranteed to win, right? So I guess like in that sense, it's like they're taking that short-term game instead of long-term win. Right?
Yeah. That's why Nick Saban retired, because he was going to recruiting like meetings and like visits with kids, and it went from kids trying to figure out how they'll get better, or how they can get to the league and whatever, to how much money can I make. And he's like, he just thought like that to him that wasn't the right path,
right?
You know, because the money will come, you know, but it's about what you're bringing, like what you got, what are you presenting,
yeah.
Like, what are you
bringing to the
what are you accomplishing,
right.
yeah. and the only person that can stop you is you, really. Shortchange yourself, right? So, but yeah, so I don't know how that's gonna work out. But college football, the game is coming back, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll see with the new playoff bracket for
Oh,
college
yeah.
football, right?
Yeah, we'll see
It'll be
how-
interesting.
That's why, yeah. At this point, like I'm more focused on this and the music and getting financially balanced, and then music videos and the storyboard for the movie, and that getting more in that direction. Like I'm more focused on that than sports at this point, you know, for sure. Like, and like I watched like a little bit the college, but I do like March Madness tournament. I do like watching it, and when the Leafs go to the playoffs, I'll watch the Leafs, of course.
Facts.
Pick it back up just like every year. Wait till the Leafs make the playoffs and then see if we can do it, you know. But other than that, like, you know, the NFL has reopened my eyes to the sports world and what really matters to me. You know, I'll enjoy sports, of course, probably for the rest of my life. But
I mean, I'm definitely gonna follow the Phillies. I mean, I have a bet that I have to cash in on.
they're gonna win.
They
Nice.
already won, so I just gotta
Oh yeah,
reap
yeah.
the fruits of my labor.
Well, the Blue Jays come to Atlanta this year, actually. So I'll
nice.
I'm gonna go to all three probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on if they're, as long as they're not day games, I should be able to go to all.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to all three because I wanna. It's gonna be another 2 years till they come back. So
Yeah, right.
unless it's the World Series. But
And
Well-
we'll just go to Philadelphia for that. Don't you worry.
Yeah. well, we'll see. I'm definitely excited. You're talking about all the different perspectives with the one podcast. I'm excited to get for when the time is when guests want to be on, and we have guests, because I think that will just unlock a whole new.
I've had a
level.
couple people ask me about being a guest, but like, I always tell them about the parameters, and then they just never do it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not serious about being.
You're not.
a guest,
You don't really
right?
want to. You're just like it's just a cap,
Right.
just to like connect in the conversation for a second. Yeah, I mean, and then for them to be like, "Oh, you never had me on," you know, at some point in time.
I was like, well, did you do your homework?
It's really not that hard. All you gotta do is like know what you're getting into,
Right. It's like, well, why would? What,
and
also,
then just
like,
bring some honest feedback to help our episode we're about to do be better than it could be. That's all.
Right. Well, because like also like if you were gonna go on Joe Rogan, right? Would you go on Joe Rogan without ever watching a Joe Rogan podcast?
Probably not.
No,
I'm sure
you
some
wouldn't,
people.
right?
I'm sure majority of the people will have had at least watched one.
Right. So like it's not a ridiculous ask that we're at. We're asking you to watch one and then give a summary, or not even a summary.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think of it?
At the end of the day, if anyone really
Right.
wants to be on, they'll do it.
Right, for sure.
So. But
So
yeah.
like I don't think like we should. I'm not saying that I'm sticking on like I'm standing strong. So don't change the homework. Right.
Yeah.
It's like if someone wants to be on here, they gotta do the homework.
Yeah, 100%. I
Watch,
agree.
watch the episode. Tell us what you think.
I said we came to the point where it was like there had to be something like so valuable
Right.
that would eliminate that, right? And then I was like, well, if Joe Rogan wants to be on it, he can be on it. And I was like, well, if Joe Rogan's gonna be on it, he would have at least watched one already.
Right, for
He
sure.
would have done his research. He would have done it, and we just like vice versa. So, but I'm definitely excited for that. Whenever that comes. For now, I'm excited to continue on Ocean Waves with 1, 2, 3, or 4 people, or
Right.
6, whatever.
Maybe even 7.
Whatever, yeah.
We got a guest.
Whatever may come in the future. I appreciate the comments. Thank you, Sparky, for commenting. The next podcast, I will reiterate the actual comment.
Actually, I will say one person has passed the qualification. He just hasn't actually done it yet. Jesse did watch one and give me a review.
Okay, nice.
But he's on his trail walk right now, so.
True.
But he did do it.
That's it. That's what's up.
So
That's cool, man. I
Shout out
don't
to
know.
him.
I'm not sure exactly who will be the first and how many we'll have in time, but I definitely think that eventually we'll be having something. It'll unlock a new door to the
Right.
to the realm. For now, I'm cool with where we're at. What's the rush, but why wait?
exactly.
You know, solid balance. Thank you. Keep commenting. Anyone who's gotten this far, we appreciate you. Short attention spans these days, and you're able to sit through this whole conversation, whether you broke it up into pieces or you sat all the way through.
Where you're at that 60%.
I'm personally
attention rate.
break it up in pieces. I probably watch like 25, 30 minutes at a time, and Someone's trying to get in, but we're closing down.
We're
So
locking up.
No way.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll tell you about it in a second.
Let me say hi to the pod.
He's saying hi to the pod.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you in here real quick.
See if you can squeeze in. Squeezes in.
Squeezes on in here.
Well, I'm down to do another one with you though. I told Eddie before we started.
Stealing my mic and stuff.
So.
Oh, you're sitting right here?
Yeah, I was sitting right here.
Well, actually, I had this because I was gonna do Eddie. We'll clean up Eddie and Calvin's mic, and then I was gonna do one with you whenever you wanted to tonight or tomorrow, and we'd have our mic still there. So.
Well, shit. Let me jump in for one topic before we call it.
All right, bring up a topic then. We're about to close it down, so you got to bring a topic in then.
All right.
What's the topic then?
Pressure's on.
Hey, this one's still on?
Okay.
Okay, you can have
That's
it.
right. No, because
What do you guys?
Heard.
What do you guys think about the like new age of streamers and how they affect like pop culture? How they affect like what people watch or like the content that they absorb and stuff like that. Like people like Aiden Ross and Neon and all those people. Like what? Because they have a lot of like they have so much influence.
I definitely think they have a crazy amount of influence. Each one of them has a lot of watchers. Each one is a different thing though.
Do
Like
you know who those people are?
No, I don't.
Really?
'Cause
Oh,
I don't
shit.
watch Twitch streamers.
that's the thing, but there's like a lot of people who do though. That's the
I
just
watch
like that
them.
market.
Right.
Remember we were talking about the bubbles, like the Taylor Swift bubble.
right.
That's a bubble that if you enter that bubble, there's a shit ton of people in there. So there might be something going on there that you have no idea about, but millions of people know about. But you know what I
For
mean?
sure.
Which
I
is
mean,
crazy.
like, I'm not very social media invested, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like you're very.
Well, I
social
think like
media
it
invested
depends on
either.
someone. Like someone like Jinxie, I think is
I
for
like
pure
Jinxie.
like he's very like comedic, like the way he.
Well, the thing I like about Jinxie, you don't know any of these people, but Jinxie, I think he's like 23 or something. He plays like essentially plays Rainbow Six, and he just makes a bunch of content about like funny videos. He watches people's clips. The reason I liked him when I first first saw him is because he played Rainbow Six, and like I used to play Siege all the time, and nobody really plays that game. It's not really a super popular game, but it's a very strategic, like shooting game. It's probably the most strategic shooting game that exists right now.
Yeah, Jackson was telling me about it the other day, actually.
Yeah, so I used to play that for a long time, like years. I had like a little squad of people we'd play with. So watching somebody actually play that game and like be super competitive and like hit, like the way he plays it and he's like listening, he's like, oh, that's this person. He knows the operator based off the footsteps and shit. That's just the level. I just respect the level of like detail because that game is that detailed. And like we used to be super serious, like listening and like trying to figure out like where everybody is and the space. And that's why like when we play Fortnite, I'm so like audio aware of what's going on around me because I'm just like playing those games is like because if you get like one shot to the head, any gun is like a kill. Like it's realistic to that point. So you can have like the worst gun in the game and it's a headshot dead, or like the best gun in the game, it doesn't matter. So I used to run. You don't know who this? I used to run Fuse, who's like this. I think it was like a Spetsnaz guy, and he had this LMG, and I'd run it with a silencer, and I used to just spray down the like objective essentially, and I would just get like 2-3 kills off the bat if they weren't paying attention for like the first round. But anyway, I don't know. That was just a thought. I was wondering what you guys thought about.
I definitely think they provide a bunch of influence. I think to a lot of younger people, for sure. And then because a lot of people, because it was like that, it started with like the Fortnite, people watching other people play Fortnite or 2K, right? So then, but then I also think now like there's a lot of people that do it, but also I think not a lot of them are like free to create. Or in the sense of like you said, like Ninja or whatever, like you always have to post new content.
Yeah.
And then on the top of the fact is people who got these big deals are you really saying everything you want to say? Or are you just saying shit because you have to say it? Are you forced to like have people on that you might not want to have on? You know?
Well, this is a thing that's happening kind of right now. Whereas like Aiden Ross, there's like a couple bigger like people like who are more like Logan Paul, right?
Yeah.
Like KSI. So they have their own like essentially sets, and like so one guy, Aiden Ross, has his own set where it's literally like a house, and he gives people a room in the house, and their job is to stream. He pays them, right? He pays them like $50,000 a month or whatever to stream, and he's started charging them rent, like $2,000 a month in rent, and it's been like a huge backlash for some of them like don't want to pay him the rent, but he's paying them $50,000 a month, and he's asking them to give him $2,000 back, and there's like people who are like not trying to pay it and and then there's also other people who are like their job is to stream and they're like they're not meeting their hours, even though I'm looking at like y'all are crazy, like y'all are getting $50,000 a month just to stream 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you have to.
Yeah,
Be
but
doing
then,
something
but then
you
the
wanna
thing
do.
is, if you're forced to do it now, it's like you're forced to do this thing.
Yeah.
But then if you look at it, we're forced to go to work.
Yeah.
We just choose what it is.
Well, yeah, you're stuck in you chose the contract you gave yourself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And like,
So to not be able to uphold a contract that you're making $50,000 from.
Yeah. I mean,
That easy?
if you
It's
decided to
crazy.
do it, then you should stick out with whatever it is.
Yeah.
And most people are making $50,000 a year doing like intense labor, like a more physical labor
To
job,
make that in a month is
instead of sitting in front of a computer screen and either play a video game or crack jokes or
yeah.
whatever. But I definitely still think that with all that influence comes, you're gonna get where does all that money come from? Is it just people or is it other influences? I think those influences leak in some ways.
or you have like those paid sponsors.
And you might
stuff
have
like
some of the controversy that comes out might just be like created controversy. That's how I kind of look at it. Where it's like you have like this person on, they say this, and then it creates this controversy, or you say this thing, and then now like 1,000 people are saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe you said this." Now you got to apologize.
Yeah,
But
that's
it creates,
crazy.
but all it is more and more viewership.
Yeah.
It's like he apologizes about this, and then now you watch him for that and this, and then blah blah blah. But you watch him say outlandish shit, then you watch him apologize, and you watch his next shit,
Yeah.
and the whole way you're through it. So it's definitely it's
like,
crazy.
and then all of a sudden he has 3 videos that are 10 times more viewed than his normal videos. Is that what you're getting at, basically?
What?
Like he said some outlandish shit, and people are
yeah.
going
I'm just saying that
crazy
the
about
publicity,
it.
That is the wave,
the
though.
publicity is any. What did they say?
So
That
those
any
next 3
publicity is
videos
good.
are going to
Well,
be like way more viewed
they-
than any of his other videos.
They say this, right? For this is like kind of in the conspiracy realm, but there's people who are like just regular people, then they like fall off, and then all of a sudden they're back, like, and they're everywhere. I could name some people. I'm not going to, but they always say like there's like a moment of like public humiliation or like a death. So either like someone in their family dies or they're publicly humiliated, and then after that moment is the moment they glow up. And I feel like it's because you can't come back after that. With those people, they're like, okay, you pick one of these 2 choices. You're either publicly humiliated, which is like, I don't want to give examples, but I'll tell you, I'll give you some examples off the thing, but you can look it up, people at home, the public humiliations. And then so it's like this thing where you can't go back to your old life because you humiliated yourself to a point where it's like, I can't go back to what I was doing before, so you kind of have to keep going forward. And then they do just blow up again, and they're everywhere.
I mean, I'll give a great example. I don't care. I'll call him out. Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, they're gonna say Jonas Brothers.
That's what I was thinking of too. I was thinking of Jonas Brothers too.
All right, so Eddie had a leave off question that we never let that turn into a.
Well, we answered it. Well,
Yeah,
you
but
did.
then we didn't
Yeah.
leave. We didn't leave.
Yeah.
So ask me,
so
then we can end
yeah,
it, 'cause I
exactly.
can't bombard
So you can
you
ask
guys.
him.
Okay, so if you had $2,000, right?
Or you have to pay $2,000 of taxes.
Yeah,
right?
$2,000 of taxes. You can choose where you want to put them. Where are you putting them?
Where are you putting him? Where is this year's? I said, or we'll see what you say. We'll say what you say.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is a thing, but I would put it towards raising the minimum wage. Like, if you could put money into a thing that would go towards paying people more per hour, that's what I would do. I don't know if that's a thing.
All
But
2,000.
yeah, all 2,000.
Sure.
Fuck everything else.
I said, $2,000 into getting clean water to the community, or 1,000 there and 1,000 in public transportation.
Ooh, I like that. I like public. I wouldn't do water for the simple fact of like, even though the water's not super clean, it's not to the point of like undrinkable. So like we can almost put a hold on that one for right now.
Yeah.
But public transportation would be lit if you could, like, if we're talking about like light rails and shit, like
Yeah.
and like gondolas.
water cars and shit.
That was
Yeah.
That's what we talked about a good bit of the podcast.
Yeah.
was
See, if
bus
we're talking about that, I'm
transportation.
down for that.
We're talking about water cars. We're talking about
Yeah.
The water cars are crazy. There's been like 11 people who have invented the water car, and all of them are dead.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
But I said 1,000 towards transportation as well, and then I said 500 towards national parks and like wildlife habitat, stuff like that, and then I said 500 towards homeless shelters. And
The only thing I will say about the wildlife thing is that, remember when we went to the Grand Canyon and we just paid at a gate to go stand out there, look at it, and then
that's ridiculous.
it's
No,
like I
disagree with
feel
that.
like they're not like if we're paying the money so that the parks are free,
That's the idea behind
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Then I can get behind that because we paid like you bought that whole pass.
Yeah, it was like $60.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was like a $20 difference. So
You didn't just buy it. You got upselled to buy it.
Yeah.
I did get upset, but like, it was like a $20
But to be
difference.
fair, we were planning on continuing
And
farther
it
than
made
we
sense.
did.
It made sense at the time. I supported the decision. I thought it was a great decision. The problem is that we didn't end up going to
any other national
if we
park.
made it to Seattle, we would have made it to another national park.
But we didn't. So like we went to state parks, a couple of state parks, but they didn't accept it. And it was
Oh,
kind of like
yeah.
that was BS.
Oh yeah.
They needed to merge those.
Yeah, they gotta merge it.
Yeah,
National, state,
Yeah, you got the
park pass.
One
You need
park
the
pass.
passport. You got the green card.
Right.
Tough.
Honestly, and Walmart needs to capitalize on them parking lot spaces. They need to have like drive-in little like the own sectioned off areas. Like it's like they have
cozy cone.
yeah, like a cozy cone. Like but it's like a little dome, and you just drive like you pay like $10 and you drive in and you just sleep in it.
have to lose your air conditioning or your gas.
I wouldn't even. Well, I'm saying, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you drive in and you can like close the thing behind you, almost like if it was like a storage unit. It looks like a storage unit, but there's like a bunch of them, and you just drive right into it. So all the people who are sleeping at Walmart can just drive in. You close the thing behind you. You pay like $10, and then you can sit in there and they like tell you to turn your car off. It can be like ventilated outside, like push air out just in case people forget. But yeah, Walmart needs to capitalize on that because those are great sleeping.
That's a great
spots.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So take that
Walmart.
Yeah.
We talked about Walmart in the podcast too. So Jason's over here
global
reflecting our
conglomerate.
Comcast.
Well, yeah, it is definitely a sick and evil global conglomerate, but we still need places to sleep. We're on the road, so.
What percent of people in the United States go to Walmart?
Everyone.
100%.
Dude, like name one person you've ever met that's never been to Walmart.
I said I couldn't think.
Okay, but I'm saying like on a like month. The question was how often do you think someone like the monthly basis, like at least once a month?
80% of the people in America, I would say probably go once a month for sure. 20%, honestly, damn, dude, I feel like most people, like 99% of people, probably go into Walmart once every 3 months at least. The regular, like 50% of people probably go at least.
See, I feel like
once a month.
Maybe like I could say like 90% maybe go in the Walmart like once every 3 months.
Because I probably go like if I was to stretch it out like once every 2 weeks.
I would say like,
but I probably go more than that.
Because like I personally didn't shop at Walmart for like 3 or 4 years straight, and it wasn't like a physical choice or like it was just too far away, right? And
That's
so
true. When we lived in Maryland, it was like that. It was too far.
So like I feel like there's plenty of people that are in that scenario where it's too far away.
But
it's gonna
you
cost
still
me more
go
money
like
to go
once
to
a
Walmart.
month. You still probably go once a month. We even when it was far away, it used to be like a 20-minute drive, or we'd have to go on the highway to get there. Remember? And we still went like not often, but enough that it was like this is our Walmart run.
You still went to Walmart.
I didn't go to Walmart.
How long between Walmart times was it?
Like probably like 2 or 3
And
years.
did you steal from there and get arrested?
I have stolen from Walmart before.
And did
was
you
not
get
arrested.
Okay. So it wasn't a sanctioned leaving of Walmart.
See, this is the thing. I'm gonna tell this.
I mean, I have been not arrested for Walmart stealing, but like what I mean, like they stopped me for stealing in Walmart, and then like they didn't call the cops. I was like 14 or something like that.
They got let you
Less.
off.
Yeah,
So
they
you
called
just
my
chose
parents.
not to go there?
See,
No, I still went there after
Oh,
that.
okay.
This is like from like I don't know. I was like 18 to like 20, maybe like 17 to 20.
See, the thing about Walmart is you have to think about it like even like a gas station, right? Like if you went and filled up, like somehow could fill up your pump or your car full of gas without paying, that would be a serious issue. Like cops would get involved. It'd be a big issue, right? If you were to steal like a bag of chips, it's not a serious issue. So if you can steal it without making it like a big thing, then there's things you can steal and get away with it. Not that I know about it. I'm just saying. There's things that are of higher importance. Like if you try to steal a video game out of Walmart, you're getting your ass chopped. But if you open up a pack of pens and steal the pen, nobody's gonna say shit. You could walk out like no problem, because they don't give a fuck about pens. But if you try to steal a $60 video game, you know what I mean? So it's just something to consider for all those people out there. Choose your battles.
Choose your battles.
So 80%.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
what I said.
I definitely can relate to that. You know, I used to walk out of Walmart, the 13-year-old Eddie, right? Walking out of Walmart, 2 big 30 racks of Monster, and like not getting stopped.
That's crazy. I would love that. See, for us as a kid, it was 5 and below, and then the lacrosse team at my school ruined it. So every weekend at 5 below, once a weekend. This is crazy. I'm gonna say it, but it doesn't matter. Like we would walk in and this is a scheme that I use like throughout like that whole time period. You have one kid with a backpack, no more than one. If you have too many kids with backpacks, it's too suspect. And the one kid with the backpack is pretty much empty. You can put like a folder in there or whatever. You just have the backpack open. Then everyone else everyone's walking around the store. They're doing what they're doing. As you walk by the kid with the backpack, you drop a couple things in the backpack. The kid with the backpack doesn't steal anything. Doesn't pick anything up, doesn't grab anything. If they have anything, they hold it in their hands. But the kid in the backpack never puts anything in the backpack. Never takes off the backpack, never turns around, nothing. Just continues on. Then everyone goes to pay, and everyone stands up by the cash register. If you have something in your hand and everyone goes and pays for it, you pay for like $3, $4, $5 worth of stuff, and the kid with the backpack just walks out, and you walk out with like $100 worth of shit, and you paid for $5. That's what we used to do when I was a kid, like 15. Teamwork. Shout out to Five and Below. And if you're actually looking at this, I didn't do any of that. Just a movie I saw last night.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I think it's funny, but the point is, I think when you're a kid, it's like, there is like that element of danger. I think that's the idea. Like, I don't think we even cared. I think it's just element of danger of like, you're kind of testing the waters of seeing what you should and shouldn't do. And then people start to get caught, and then you kind of change.
Whether you change to stop doing that action or you change to keep doing that action.
And just get better.
Get better at it.
Thanks.
Better.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really look at it as like, how much, like, is this worth the $20? You know, if the worst result happens.
Yeah, in reality, no. Like, because if you're gonna like get arrested over like a $5 something, it's kind of stupid. Like, it seems stupid. So that's where it comes. That's where it comes in. But I used to I was like Robin Hood, like vigilante shit. Like from like I used to be like, oh, these are rich ass companies. Like, they're fine. Like, it doesn't hurt their pockets. Like, you steal from the rich and give to the poor. And in that situation, we were the poor. So give to ourselves. But in reality, it's not worth it. Like, stealing candy is stupid. Like, you're not really stealing because you have to eat. Like, you're trying to, like, you're not starving. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just dumb.
Well, anyways, leave it at that question.
Walmart. There's no rival
Taxes,
to Walmart.
$2,000.
If Walmart was AI, Walmart would be like the Terminator.
Remember that South Park episode?
Yeah, where Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart's like the entity Walmart.
Yeah, it probably is, dude.
It's just like getting everyone to come in and buy shit or whatever.
As a kid, I would look at Walmart.
And if you talk shit about it, like it like has like all the listening devices, then
takes you out.
yeah.
Wait, so why is it called Walmart?
I don't know.
As a kid, I'd always look at it and be like, why is it Walmart? Why is it missing an L? And why, like, what is it? What is wall? What does wall mean?
Walt Disney, I don't know.
Let me see.
Yeah. How did Walmart
we have a
get
phone
his
in
name?
here
That's
now.
That's a good way to end it. How did Walmart get his name?
WAL is weighted average life. So WAL is the average length of time that each dollar of unpaid principal on a loan, a mortgage, or amortizing bond remains outstanding. So is the average length time that each dollar of unpaid principal. Does anyone understand what that means?
Well, we should just look at what Walmart that's his name from.
Oh, wall is a noun. It means death or slaughter.
You should just look up how Walmart got its name.
It's going to be some bullshit.
Looking at wall.
It's going to be a cover-up.
I mean, probably. So, the death or slaughter mart. Slaughter prices.
It says a very large group of shop. No, that's not right. See, that's the cover-up. How did Walmart get its name? Let's do that. It says it was founded in 1962 by a man named Sam Walton, who used his family name as a part of his store's name. See, that just sounds too like... I like the one where it said death. It said death.
Death and despair if you enter this facility.
Yeah. Death and slaughter. It's a slaughter mart.
Well, he said death and slaughter prices. You get saved 3 cents.
We death and slaughter those
on
prices.
the rollback, you saved 3 cents, but you paid 10 cents on the credit card fee. So.
We talked the dog.
All right. Well, thank y'all very much. If you got this far, we appreciate you. Ocean Waves.
By the way, it's all for educational purposes only.
Episode 28.
We do not condone stealing or... What was the 2 words to describe
Death
Wall?
And slaughter.
Death and slaughter on the Ocean Waves podcast.
I do want to say though, for those people out there, the kids and stuff, when they're watching, if you like, okay, this is the reason I say this, because every single time when I was in school and people told you not to do something, if you were one of those kids who already did that, you would do it anyway. So point being for all those people out there is if you're gonna do some shit, if you're gonna steal, be smart about it. Don't do anything stupid that's gonna get you caught. Don't steal expensive items because you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get arrested. Then you're gonna be the kid who got caught stealing from Walmart. You don't want to be that kid. This kid got let off. He was lucky. Not everyone does. I know people who didn't, who got banned from that place. So if you're gonna do it, be smart about it, and that's it. But you shouldn't do it in the first place. But you do what you want to do. But be smart about it. Don't get caught.
I wasn't the luckiest that day, but I did get lucky. Definitely blessed.
We do
I
condone.
would love 230 racks of monsters.
That's hilarious. We do condone passion, following purpose, community growth.
Oh, and don't steal Pokemon cards. Those people are the worst, dude. People who they ruin it for everybody else because I think the store stops selling them. Don't be stealing cards.
I definitely stole Pokemon cards.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's cost a line.
Made a good bit of money off some Pokemon. Just kidding. Didn't do that.
Yeah, it's all educational. That's the point.
We do not condone stealing, slaughtering, or death on the Ocean Waves podcast.
We love you. Thank you for
We
letting
do
me
condone
bombard
one
the end of
love
it.
and a unity and peace and compassion and following your dreams. Thank you so much for checking it out. Episode 28. This was Indy Dwin the Kin.
Indigo Ryan the Navigator.
And Josh Son. What did I say I was going to do? Hold on.
you just use 6 clicks.
Oh yeah, you're done. This is locked out.
Josh Son the Barger. I barged. Imagine looking up your phone just to say that.
That's
The
geek.
Barger.
Ocean's on arrival, all platforms. Thank you very much. Ocean Waves, episode 28.
Wow.
Peace.